Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Can I get a wee audio check in the chat, please? I'll run through some. I'll run through some hellos. The wonderful, super amazing Emma G's in. Audio proper strong one. Thank you. I'll just head back to the start. Our pals in the house. What about you, chum? Steve Cray. Glad to see you. Ragnar Orangebeer, also brother. We've got 2 mods in the house, so everything's all going to be sweet. Cyborg, what about you, chum? Emma G saying hello, friends. She gets 2 mentions because she's Emma G. Tic Tac's in. What about you, chum? Send some communion. Great. I was looking a little bit at the end of your stream. Was kind of busy today. But good content as always. Oh yes, and he's on topic and everything. 1708 and 1800 were fine years. And now look what the traders have done to it. Yes, I'm going to be getting on that. And Sanson and Emma are talking about some form of medical stuff. Berm, what about you, chum? Glad to see you. Hashtag. Berm again. Rags. Berm. October. Evening, brother. TikTok. Thank you. Yes, I need to get some more poems written up and stuff. News. Word to the wise, you get to hear this because you're one of the early adopters. I do have a project on the go. Not quite poetry, but it's going to be something, and it's coming soon. So you heard it here first. Hashtag's telling me good audio. Even hashtag. There's Arpa again. Peter Benton, over from the Waffle House. What about you, chum? Glad to see you here. Exiled Vikings in. Thank you. Evening, sir. Martin Based and The Ugly Truth. I'll try that again. And The Ugly Truth. Yes. Packa's in. Evening, Packa. Berman Pete. Yes. That's all the hellos. I'm not telling anybody you're here. You'll be fine. I know what that's about. Yeah, we'll come on to that in a minute. Because I'm going to be doing a couple of shout outs. The Budgie Burger's in. What about you, chum? Good to have the fellered friends about. This is all going well. I've managed to get through 5 minutes without fucking anything up. Could be possibly a record. Right, so a couple of shout outs. The first one is a very warm welcome to anyone that came along here from Bonnie Lad News and Sansom Communion. I'm going to have a little bit to say at the very start of this about one of the little bits of content that I seen while I was getting this sorted out. I've had a bit of a busy day. Well, I've had a really nice day. Emma G, and I was up, and we went out to a lovely fish and chip shop, and it was very nice. Everything's all good. So it meant I didn't really get to watch Pack on Bonnie Lads. But if you like if you like my stuff and you're not watching what they're doing before, you're missing out, because if you like my stuff, you're going to like their stuff. It's simple as that. Uh, B.S. Martin saying no more black pills tonight. No, I don't think there are. Uh, we're we're in the business of history and culture mostly, so it's there's nothing going to send you on a downer. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m., Rags and Jack will be playing host to the National Housing Party UK over on Ragnar's channel. That's from 7 p.m. People, I urge you to get over to that stream and have a listen to what these guys are doing. They're a political party. They're formed. They are eligible to stand in elections in Great Britain. And what they are not is the establishment. And we need people engaging in politics that are not part of the historical, the see, fucking reading stuff off a chat, not part of the political establishment. We really need those people to be in existence. Get over there, have a listen to what these boys are at, and make your own opinions. But I think they're doing a very good thing. John Davison. John Davison normally streams Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I think he's now going to Tuesdays and Fridays because he has been a little bit under the weather. I would like, as always, I wish him a speedy recovery. I hope he gets back up the full stream and gets back to doing 3 nights a week, but I also don't want them to overdo it. But yes, stick your head in there, give him a bit of support. And the other person I'd like to give a shout out to is Dave's Waffle House. You'll find Dave's Waffle House talking waffle from 8:30 most nights. He has a very nice interactive chat. Also, what it's very good for is particularly from my point of view, that deals quite a lot in politics, facts, history. It's a really nice chill out, and it takes you away from, because we all need a bit of an escape from that every now and again. So you'll get that at Dave's Waffle House. It's good stuff, and whenever I'm on day shift, you'll probably find me and Emma G lurking, hanging out in the chat as well. So there's all of that. Now, October, I think I said hello to you. Steve Cray, Ugly Truth, Rags, Anglo-Saxon, Even Brother, glad to have you aboard. Steve Cray, I'm fucking up and early doors tomorrow for the boys' football match tomorrow morning, and to be up at 6 a.m. so can't stick around, but we'll watch the stream tomorrow. Steve, yes, get yourself off the bed, get yourself rested. I'm guessing the football season's starting to kick in with league matches and stuff. And good luck to the lads. Hope they do well. And mate, enjoy this. Enjoy this part of our life, because it will be gone by faster than you think. This is true. Western Europe has been in the business of history and culture for a couple of thousand years now, and we have got quite good at it. We have indeed. The problem is that it gets misreported, misconstrued. and we need to claim our. Here's what it is, people. We need to take our shit back. We need to start talking about our stuff and take it back, because whenever only one side or one political narrative talks about all this stuff, then we just give up them. Yes. I'm a cheese regular in the Waffle House whenever I'm out there. Yes, this is true. Uh, oh. Quack, 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 quack. It's a talks about. And Opinion of Scotland. Scotsman's back in. Here we go. Welcome aboard. And with that, I think we will begin talking about the Act of Union. No potatoes involved in this stream. We aren't having any potatoes involved in this. Right. So we're going to talk about the Act of Union, and I'm just going to throw up the image from the not a bonfire in sight this week. I'm most disappointed. I like to have a bonfire. We're talking about the Act of Union, which was passed on the 1st of August 1800, which is why we're now talking about it in early August. And it became effective on the 1st of January 1801. So, and this is the formation of the United Kingdom. This is how important this is. Without this act, we don't have a United Kingdom. So there is that. And right, let's get into some facts. What I did find quite infuriating was whenever I was looking up articles about the Act of Union, they all basically, none of them seemed to like the idea that we have a United Kingdom of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, which has now become Northern Ireland. 222 years. And National Housing Party, United Kingdom, are in. Welcome, lads, or whichever one of you it is. It's obviously hard to tell. God save the United Kingdom, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, anti-British, not welcome. Very well put. If you're just in, I give a shout out that you guys are going to be on with Rags and Jack tomorrow evening, and say that you're a political party, but you're not the established politicians. And if we are to get anywhere in this country, we need to start getting behind political parties that are not the establishment. It's just life will work much better that way. The ducks on about giraffes. I'm confused. Right. Anyway, we're going to have a look at the legislation for the Act of Union. If you want to find out the facts about what happened when, and this is particularly relevant whenever you uh, whenever you get into things about discrimination and whatnot. What is actually quite interesting to look at is the legislation that was in force at the time, the legislation that's in force currently, and I'm going to zoom this in a little more. And what legislation has been put in place to rectify things. Uh, very welcome. Very welcome. Right. Here we go. So the Act of Union. Act of Union 1800. Let's have a look at what it says. The Parliaments of Great Britain and Ireland have resolved to concur in measures for the uniting of the two kingdoms. United Kingdom being England and Scotland, and Ireland being Ireland. The whole of the island because at that time, Ireland was one country. Great Britain and Ireland to be united forever from the 1st of January 1801. So there's no expiry date on this. Quite interestingly, whenever legislation comes in place, there's a lot of times it'll be from a certain date to a certain date where it needs to be updated, amended, or can actually just pass into no longer being a law. So Great Britain and Ireland to be united forever from the 1st of January 1801. The second article is about the Crown. Succession to the Crown to be continued as at present. And the third article is there'd be one Parliament. So there'd be one Parliament in Westminster that governs the whole of the United Kingdom. The Representation Act shall be considered as part of the Union. Irish peers who are not elected to serve as peers may serve as British commoners, during which time they cannot be elected to serve as peers. So, as you know, the Westminster has two houses, got the House of Lords and the House of Commons. So the peers are the Lords. In what cases the peers may be deemed exempt, how questions touching the election of Irish commoners shall be decided, and how the Parliament of the United Kingdom shall be constituted. And this talks about privileges, rights, ranks, precedency of Lords, temporal, and the Imperial Parliament. The fifth article is about the churches. The Church of Scotland shall continue as at present established. The sixth article is subjects of Great Britain and Ireland to be on the same footing from 1st of January 1801. I need to go back and repeat this. Subjects of Great Britain and Ireland to be on the same footing from January 1801. This means that from that point on, the laws that were applicable in England and Scotland were applicable in Ireland. People in Ireland had the same rights and responsibilities as people in England and Scotland. A lot of the negative press I've seen about the Act of Union has been about it was formed to emancipate the Irish. And I'm thinking, if you wanted to discriminate against somebody via an act, it's probably not a good idea to put them on the same legal footing as people you do not wish to discriminate against. So my point is that from the 1st of January, people in Ireland have the same legal rights as the people in Great Britain. Simple as that, job done. Sixth article, which is becoming interesting again, no duty or boundary on exportation of produce from one country to the other. All articles of the produce of either country shall be imported free from duty. So if you want to bring stuff from Great Britain to Ireland or Ireland to Great Britain, there shall be no duty. Produce of either country shall be produce of either country subject to internal duty shall on importation onto each country be subject to the counter Slovene duty, the same charges on the produce of either country exported through the other. So this is saying that if you're bringing stuff from England to Ireland or Ireland to England, you don't have any extra tax to pay on it, and there really should not be any uh, impediment, such as we currently have with moving goods from England, Scotland, Wales to Northern Ireland. Strange that. I think that this protocol may well breach the Act of Union. Eighth article, all civil and ecclesiastical laws and courts shall remain as now established, subject to future alterations. Court of Admiralty in Ireland with appeal to the Chancery in Ireland, and all contrary laws repealed. So what I'm saying is, while we're going to have the same laws, where Scotland has slightly different laws than England, Ireland has slightly different laws than England, Ireland has slightly different laws from Scotland, England slightly different laws from Scotland and Ireland. Those wee regional variations, you're allowed to keep those, but basically we've got the same legal system. Said articles were approved by His Majesty. Said articles are hereby declared to be the Articles of Union and in force forever from 1st of January 1801. So there you go. That's how the United Kingdom was born. And with that, I'm going to look through the chats. Right, Regs. 1707 was the Act of Union between Scotland and England, which formed Great Britain. So you had England as a country, Scotland as a country. They formed together and became joint in Great Britain. Interestingly, no mention of Wales, because Wales was considered part of England. Well, unfortunately, we the people, the Great British public, elected the fucking scammers. And we need to not do that. You're for United Isles, but not a kingdom. I don't think you're going to piss anybody off. I am curious as to what you think the distinction is between Isles, the term Isles and Kingdom. Oh, for those that want to get really into the weeds, we've got Great Britain is England and Scotland and Wales being part of Scotland, the mainland. The United Kingdom is Great Britain and Northern Ireland, as it is now, because the country was divided in the early 1920s. And the British Isles, you include the Orkneys, the Shetlands, the Isle of Man, Ireland, which they probably don't like, but yeah, you're still part of the British Isles, because you can't take a bandsaw and cut your island off and roll it off to somewhere else. You'd probably get better weather if you did, but there you go. Well, they cleaved a bit off, but they still haven't got Ulster. Well, they haven't got Northern Ireland. That's not getting the Northern Ireland has 6 counties. Ireland has 9. We're missing a couple, but there you go. I'm not going to read that out, but small party England. Right, okay. See, here's the thing. Lord England, if we took the British bit out, we'd all be okay. A new union, 4 countries, and a binding union that protects each but recognise them as individual countries. it'll be peaceful finally. Well, here's the thing. The Act of Union does bring four countries under one banner, common laws, and it does actually recognize them as individual countries. Even more so than it did then, because now Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland have their own assembly, which deals with their own legal bits, mostly their own taxes, does bits and pieces and whatnot. And we still can't keep some cunts happy. And with regard to Irish nationalists, it's not the name British they're unhappy with, it's the people. And I don't know that we could make them happy. 1 second. 1801. That's whenever they merged the English flag, Scottish flag, and the Patrick's Cross. Oh, we do really need to stand together. It's really easy. Ireland's got its own country, and let people that want to be Irish go live in Ireland. Let the indigenous people of Ireland, the British people, live in Northern Ireland, and then we're fine. The problem is that the people that live in current Ireland do not want the people that live in Northern Ireland to live in Northern Ireland. They want us gone, out, or whatever, and that ain't happening. Send some thanks for the pick. Southern Ireland will come crawling back for an economic deal when the EU collapses. That would work. They possibly would. And you know what? They've got a big enough brass neck to go for it. Right. Burns making a good point here. Right. Isles are islands. A kingdom is a kingship of a king and royal lines. Samuel, it covers what happens when we accept the king again. The more we get into this, the more I feel I'll piss off people. Sorry. Well, see, once upon a time, we had empires ruled by emperors. Then we got kingdoms that were ruled by kings. Then we got countries that were run by cunts. I'm not sure which way I'm not sure that's the right way to go. Well, Martin, this is a question. See, I'm going to guess that there's a bunch of Scottish people that want to be part of the EU, and there's a bunch of people that want to be independent, and there's a bunch of Scottish people that want to be part of Great Britain or the United Kingdom. So But in order to increase the share of the vote, the Scottish Nationalist Party have packaged membership of the EU with independence. The fact that that doesn't work because uh, being independent and being in the EU is two totally different fucking things, but that's what they're trying to sell. But then again, we're beyond Kings now, but what we have now isn't compatible with us. Yeah, see, the last king we had that actually tried to rule the country and interfere with Parliament, the fought a war, chopped his head off, and then we went back to having a representative democracy, a representative monarchy, and a parliament that the uh, and a parliament to run the country. So there is that. This is also true. Ireland was tribal. What do you know? Then we had uh, Ireland was tribal, and then we had uh, yep, Henry II came to Dublin and received submission of not only the Norman leaders, but also the Celtic Kings, and presumably whoever it was running Ulster at the time. And that's whenever Ireland became under the same crown as England, and that's back in 1171, way before the Act of Union was even thought of. Right now, what was it? What was I going to talk about next? Because there was other stuff that I had for this. Uh, yep, I'll put this bit up next. There was everything that I sort of read about this was on the negative side, because it's been written by people that don't like us. Uh, and this link seems to be not what it started off as, but anyway, we're going to go with uh, present, share screen. This is going to go back to 1707. And we're going to zoom this in a little bit. View, zoom in. The Act of Union passed by the English Scottish Parliament in 1707 led to the creation of a United Kingdom called Great Britain on the 1st of May of that year. The UK Parliament met for the first time in 1707. Here we look at the relationship between the two independent kingdoms of England and Scotland in the 16th, 17th centuries and explore the critical. No. The idea of a union between England and Scotland was aired in February and March of 1689 during the deliberations of the Convention of Parliament in Edinburgh. William III wrote to the convention of his pleasure that so many of the Scots nobility and gentry favoured the proposal, especially since both nations shared the same landmass, language, and attachment to the Protestant religion. It would also, of course, help to secure the revolution against ex-King James and the Jacobites. As a result of this encouragement, the convention appointed commissioners to negotiate with the English, but met with a wall of disinterest. A proposal of union was made by the Lords in 1695, but that too received short shrift. In Scotland, however, the case for union found much favour among the political elites during the early 1690s, mainly because of the poor state of the economy. In 1699, there was discussion between politicians in London and Edinburgh, and the English side acknowledged that a union might be in both nations' interest. The Scots hoped for a union of trade with vital access to English colonial markets. By early 1700, these talks had hardened into a legislative proposal, and backed by the King at Westminster, a bill for negotiating a union passed the Lords but was thrown out by the Commons. This example of continuing English inflexibility did little to dispel the intense anti-English attitudes that were rife in Scotland. The Bill of Rights in 1689 had declared that William and Mary would be succeeded by Mary's sister Anne, but made no provision for the succession if Anne died childless. William and Mary had no children, but the birth to Anne of a son, Prince William, Duke of Gloucester, seemed to make the succession line safe. But his death at age 11 in 1700 changed that. The English Parliament at Westminster eventually declared in the Act of Settlement 1701 that after Princess Anne, James II's younger Protestant daughter, James II's daughter, the succession would pass through the Protestant line to Sophia of Hanover and her heirs. The Scottish Parliament chose to do nothing, and it seemed as if they might well offer the Scottish crown to the exiled Stuarts, but they did not. And this is actually from UK Parliament, and they're trying to spin this, even with the act with Scotland. I need to check through the comments. Rags, we go back way before that. We go back way before that. And so what I wanted to show was this a little bit from Cambridge Core Unionist opinion. As to why this sort of explains why everything I found was what the hell's going on? These cookies. Right. I've found a bit of need. I just need to zoom this out a little. Right. Actually, I think I should do StreamYard. Present. Share screen. Right. This is from The Origins of the Act of Union, an examination of Unionist opinion in Britain and Ireland, 1650 to 1800. This is the extract, and it's coming from Cambridge University Press. So it's bona fide. It's a bona fide, peer-reviewed bit of information. The extract. It has long become commonplace to observe that the Act of Union of 1800, which abolished the Irish Parliament and established the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, has since its enactment exerted a formative influence on Irish history and remained the dominant issue in Anglo-Irish relations. In view of this, it is surprising that so little notice has been afforded to the development of Unionist sentiment in Britain and Ireland in the century and a half up to 1800, and that the origins of the background to the Union were received such cursory attention. There is, of course, an obvious historical and historiographical reason for this. Generations of Irish nationalists, and all too frequently their historians, have perceived union as a malign termination of the constitutional arrangement known grandly but misleadingly as Grattan's Parliament, and consequently have been little interest in investigating or understanding its origins. So the reason why we've got so much shit about the Act of Union is because we've had a rewriting. Just want to check through the chat. Right, okay, that's all fine. I think there was one other thing that I possibly wanted to put up. That's, I had a thing told me how many places Ireland got in the. Yep. This will work. Present. Share screen. Share screen. I'm going to make this a little larger. This is from Oxford Reference. The United Parliaments of Great Britain and Ireland abolished the Parliament of Ireland and Dublin and ended the Irish legislative independence granted in 1782. The Act originated from Britain's difficulties in governing Ireland, especially after the Irish Rising of 1798, and was designed to strengthen British security against France. The Act came into force on 1st of January 1801 in place of their own House of Commons. 300 their own House of Commons of 300 members. Ireland was given 100 MPs at Westminster, while 28 Irish peers were elected for life. That's to the House of Lords by the whole Irish peerage to represent them in the Lords. The Act was intended to pave way for. It says the Act was intended to pave way for Catholic emancipation in Ireland, but George III refused to consent and Pitt, the Prime Minister, resigned. Now, let's separate facts from fiction. Right. So, Ireland was given 100 MPs at Westminster, while 28 Irish peers were elected for life by the whole Irish peerage. So the Irish peerage were given, pick your 28 people that you want in, and then you're going to be able to replace them. We're going to give Ireland 100 seats in Westminster. Now, that's fact. Here we go with fiction. The Act was intended to pave. This is how you lie legally. This is how you lie in legal documents. This is how you lie to the people. You go, it was intended. No evidence required. No proof, no facts, no evidence of that intention ever happening. But you can put it into your article. You can put it into your article. It's legal to do that because it says intended, and we've strayed from facts into opinion. So I just wanted to point that shit out. There we go. It will. The truth will set us free. Right, we've got a lot of stuff about Harold Lloyd, the filmmaker, not the politician, and oh, there's Amanda Lee's in. What about you, Sean? Glad to have you aboard. I think we're talking football. Our play's still here. Nothing else I need to get involved with, and we're all good. So, what are we doing next? Where we're in 45 minutes. Rory Herbert hasn't been in, has he? Rory, if you're about, stick something in the chat, but I don't think you are. Yep. So, what other British stuff do we have from early August? Here we go. Share screen. We're going to have a look at William II. Oh no. Lying legally is important because it stops you getting done for slander or other things. It's a question of how do you get to, how do you work out how to say something that is your opinion but make it look like a fact. So if you have a fact, then an opinion, then a fact in the one article, people will read it all as fact and not realize that part of it's an opinion with nothing to verify it or back it up. Yep, bending the truth. Also, also known as revisionist history. That's another term. So we write the history books, we write the stuff about the history, and we make it. We do it with our opinion as opposed to the factual correctness. Right, hold on, I need to zoom this in one more time. Oh, fuck, no, I meant out. I didn't get this right yet. Poor about me, people. Right. That's actually shareable. New speak and double speak. New speak and double speak has gone a bit. We've gone a bit further in this process where we have changed the meanings of words, and that that has its own set of fuck ups because whenever the words don't No, I haven't even been on the buckets. I ain't even drunk or stoned or anything. I'm just balancing things up. I can't remember, Martin, off the top of my head. Uh, I can't. I can't tell you that the reason why he did it was because he wanted a Catholic king, a Roman Catholic king. Uh, right, share screen. William Rufus, uh, who died on the 2nd of August, 1100. Which is why we're now talking about him, because it's August. This is what we do. We look for stuff and we need to check. Oh, yes. Lots of rewriting of history. And why the fuck has. My StreamYard screen has changed for some reason. Yeah, that's more like it. Right. Oh, here we go. Histories of Norman England are more often than not focused on William I, better known as a conqueror, or his youngest son, who later became Henry I. Yet the life and tribulations of his chosen successor, favourite son and namesake William II, have remained relatively ignored. Not tonight, they're not. The most well known discussion about William Rufus surrounding his sexuality. Spoiler alert, I'm going to read through this, then I'm going to give you an opinion. He never married and never produced any heirs, legitimate or illegitimate. He let This led to many at the time, and many at the, more recently bringing into question his sexuality. It has been a frequent area of contention. By whom? With some suggesting he was homosexual, as there is no indication that he was impotent or infertile. His most frequent advisor and friend, Rush Flambard, appointed Bishop of Durham in 1099, was often implicated as being William's most obvious and regular sex partner. That being said, there is little or no evidence to suggest that Flamgard was homosexual, other than the musing the musings that he spent a lot of time with William, and that William surrounded himself with attractive men. Nah. Well, see, here's the thing. We we have the current gay lobby who like to attribute people of historical interest as being gay in order to prove that there has always been gay people. But David Davis has it. He was just a fucking bachelor. So the debate about William's sexuality is in all a futile one, with no evidence to support either side of the discussion. Then maybe the side saying that he was gay should shut the fuck up and go with the cultural norms of the time that he was not. These accusations of sodomy would, however, have been particularly beneficial to the church that was deeply angered and upset by William's rule. William II had a fractured relationship with the church as he often kept bishops' positions empty, allowing him to appropriate their incomes. In particular, relations were poor with the new Archbishop of Canterbury, Aslam, who felt so aggrieved at William's rule that he eventually fled into exile and sought the help and advice of Pope Urban II in 1097. Urban negotiated the issue and was Urban negotiated and the issue was resolved with William. But Aslan remained in exile until the end of William's reign in 1100. This presented William with an opportunity, one that he gratefully seized. As himself exiled, left the revenues of the Archbishop of Canterbury vacant. William thus was able to claim these funds until the end of his reign. Why would he not? So here we have somebody from the church claiming this fucker's taking the money that I should be getting for the job that I'm doing, but I've refused to do the job, so I don't get the money. What the fuck's your Me think you do protest a little too much. Where William lacked respect and support from the church, he most certainly had it from the army. He was a consummate tactician and military leader who understood the importance of having loyalty from his army. Norman lords undoubtedly having their propensity for uprisings and rebellions. Whilst he could not successfully contain the secular ambitions of his nobles, he did use force to keep them in line. In 1095, the Earl of Northumbria, Robert de Mowbray, rose in rebellion and refused to attend the meeting of nobles. William raised an army and took to the field. He successfully routed de Mowbray's forces and imprisoned him, seizing his lands and estates. This is how you deal with fucking troublemakers. Get your army, take their stuff and throw them in fucking prison. We'd have a lot less troublemakers if everybody did that. I'm going to check the chat. .42. Don't forget, mate. There's a reason why they call Durham the land of the prince bishops. Right? Yeah. The bishops did have an ordinate power. One second. I know you have people on after your streams and can't stick around at the moment, but if and only if. Right, here, Sansom. Do you want to jump on there and have a quick talk about Union? Because I would really be up for that if you want to, because that's what we were talking about. If you want, or are you in bed already? So up yourself. If Sansom, if you want to jump on to have a quick talk about the Union, stick link in the chat and I'll post you a link. You'd be very welcome. And William also effectively bought the hill of the Scottish kingdom that was constantly hostile towards him. Malcolm III, King of Scotland, invaded William's kingdom on numerous occasions, most notably in 1091 when he was solidly defeated by William's forces, forced to offer homage to William and to acknowledge him as overlord. Later in 1093, an army sent by William under the command of later imprisoned de Mowbray successfully defeated Malcolm at the Battle of Alnwick and resulted in the death of Malcolm and his son Edward. These victories were a particularly good result for William. It threw Scotland into succession dispute and disarray, allowing him to assert control on previously fractured and problematic region. This control came through the long-held Norman tradition of castle building. For instance, the concentration of the Castle of Carlisle in 1092 brought the previous Scottish territories of Westmoreland and Cumberland under English lordship. Now I need to check a chat. Right, I'm sticking the link in the chat for Sansom, and if he comes on, we'll have a chat. If you're not Sansom Communion, don't be coming on just at the minute, because if you do, you will be getting dumped out again. This is true, George Orwell. Deconstruction of our history is part of the left's game. Force the offer armies. That's where you have two armies on a battlefield, and one of them beats the other. And as opposed to going on to kill every person on the battlefield, the leaders of the defeated army pay homage to the victorious army, and they join together. That's basically it. Add the stream. Sansom, what about you, chum?
Hello, mate. How are you doing? I didn't know if you were chucking the thing in the chat for DJ, because did he say he wanted to come on? Can't remember.
It's DJ.
Yeah, DJ was in the chat and he just sent a message saying, if you want to talk about, well, if you're going to talk about this stuff, in other words, the 2 bites of the cherry.
He's
in the chat now, so he'll have the same link. So
yeah,
if he wants to come on.
If DJ wants to come on for a cherry chat, this would be good.
Yeah. I mean, we do enjoy telling them that the Jacobites were, the Jacobeans were crap at battles.
Yeah.
I mean, did they actually win one? Can you remember? I can't remember. He keeps on making these excuses. Oh yeah, it was all propaganda because we would have marched on London, but the papers said, yeah, you'd only be going down to London because they got nuclear bombs or something. So it's all just excuses, as we know. Right. These people. He was claiming Pictish heritage earlier on. There was some burial mound or something that was Pictish. And,
I would say the probability is that DJ does come from Pictish heritage.
Yeah, but he was saying it was the Northern Picts, and everybody knows it was only their second album that was any good, because the first one was terrible. But
the DNA evidence is in, and the Picts.
Well, it's in Scotland. It's the DISNAE.
The DNA evidence in, and there's Picts in Scotland, Picts in Ireland, down as far as Kells and parts of England. And there's the geonodes and all stuff's in. It's quite the thing. Anyway, I want to deal with this. National Housing Party UK press office. Is it fair to say that the St. James Cross is a French flag? No, it's not fair to say that.
No, it isn't, because everybody knows it's racist.
There are lots of people. The George Cross came from Richard de Lionheart, who chose to wear it in battle, and then it became the national flag of England in the Crusades. Like whenever you see the Knights Templar and they've got the red cross and the white background on their tunics, the George Cross came from that, and then it became the flag of England. I think there. I think I a did a segment about that. But yes, Sansa, what you came on for, the Act of Union.
Yes, well, like I say, it was the first one was Queen Anne, so it was the Union of Scotland and England in.
Yep.
I thought it was 1708. Was that when it became like pucker, as our friend would say? Because I always remember 1708 and 1800, but it didn't actually.
So,
The United Kingdom didn't become
right,
official until the first of 1801. So I was out slightly by that
right.
year, but
I have the bump, the stuff for the first one. 1707. Right, I will throw this up on the screen. This is from UK Parliament. Act Union 1707. Act Union passed by the English Scottish Parliament in 1707 led to the creation of the United Kingdom called Great Britain on the 1st of May of that year. So it came into effect from the 1st of May on in 1707. And that was England and Scotland.
yeah.
No Wales, because Wales was just a small part of England.
I mean, in fairness, we'd already, they'd already had their 2 bites of the cherry by then. Which I'm surprised that DJ hasn't rocked up. It was actually his comment. Actually, I see it further up. It's DJ who was saying, he says here, I know you have people on after your streams, and I can't stick around at the moment. But if,
Yep.
and only if, he's putting down the law here, because obviously, it might be your stream, but he's dictating the rules here. But if, and only if, your after chat is about the union due to your stream tonight, hit me up on Telegram. LOL. So there you go.
Right. That I have got confused and thought that was you, Sanson. Fuck.
No, I just like to do DJ shit posting. So
Yep.
yeah. Like I say, by this time we've already had the 2 bites of the cherry, so he's already on a loser. He doesn't really want to come on and talk about losing exponentially since then. So yeah. One thing I will say though, were it not for the union of England and Scotland that Queen Anne oversaw in 1707 and then into, I say, 1708, the British Empire would not have been anywhere near as big as it was because, and I say this unironically, and I'm not blowing smoke up our sweaties, friends' arses, but when you think about per capita, the amount of influence and impact the Scottish people had on the British Empire, it's out of this world. They literally were the jewels in the crown, weren't they? These guys, they had it harder than anybody else, and hardship breeds bloody, innovation, and those were the most innovative people we had for about 200 years. They were
Yep.
absolutely exemplary, in my opinion.
Yes. Anybody that can craft a living out of the landscape that Scotland has and the weather and all of that, they've got something about them. And the Scottish, and I would say probably going back, there was a time when our Scottish education was better than English or Irish.
Oh, it's easily better. I'm telling you now, even in the 1950s, because I have family from Scotland, as you know, like through
Yep.
grandparents, and I would say, and this is say in the 50s, what would be classed as O level examinations in a lot of England, yeah. Well, put it this way: in Scotland, if you, because they had their own examining board for a while, like I say, until it all got fucked in the head. But a lot of the exams that were held in Scotland on things like mathematics and physics and stuff like that, A-level students in England couldn't do them, or the rest of the British Isles probably couldn't do them. They were that good. They were head and
Which,
shoulders above. But
which
oh, here we go. Here's
which,
Rags flagging up a message. Here we go. What's this here? Oh no. Oh right, no. It's just something about John David. Yeah, I think Amanda got blocked on John Davidson's channel by accident, and I think it was
right.
our good friend Loose Cannon Iron Spear, the what is it, the assassin, the chat assassin, Ragnar Iron Spear.
Yeah, but that one will definitely have been somebody having thick fingers. Amanda will be back on there, and somebody will get that sorted out. Yeah,
but what I don't know, and one of the things I did want to explore a little bit more, which is the one thing that it is remiss, because it's just I only know it from the date. So 1800, I knew that was when the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Great Britain and Ireland, as it was back then, came into effect, and obviously that was under George IV, I'm assuming, and what was the societal impact of that, and why was that seen to be necessary? And I'm not saying that in a sense, I'm just saying that from a position of ignorance. So obviously we gave the world to Scotland through Queen Elizabeth, who gifted it to James II, and then him and his offspring fucked it up royally. We all know that, the two bites of the cherry. But obviously going forwards into the sort of the start of the 19th century, why was this come about?
Ireland had a parliament that was corrupt, and
What
Ireland,
you mean, like now?
yes, like now, pretty much like now. Ireland had a misfunctioning parliament, and it also had a system of laws that could change, to say the one, and whatnot. So it brought it under all of the England, Scotland, and Ireland got the same laws then, basically, with regional variations in Ireland and Scotland about how you interpret them and how you put them into place. It also made it easier for goods to go back and forward from England, Scotland, and Ireland, and increase trade. But societal impact for the ruling classes, right? The very well to do, it probably had an impact. For people like you and I, new boss, same old boss.
Well, it's no different to today, isn't it? Like we are continually bombarded with which is the Tory mantra of GDP, GDP, GDP. But in order to achieve their GDP goals, they have to flood the country with immigrants, which, yeah, it's great for the 0.1% of society, which has the businesses which wants artificially deflated wages, etc.
Well,
but for the rest of us, the 99.9%, that's a massive detriment, because they say, so if you take the GDP increase as 100% of the cake, if you like, 99% of that cake goes to the 0.1%. So that means there's 1% that's spread around the remaining sort of 99.9%. But because we are flooding the country with immigrants, we get less and less of a share of that thing. So it's a really, really bad deal for ordinary people.
Well, back pre-Act of Union, if you grew barley in Ireland and it
God bless you.
was
If you're growing barley and hops, God bless you.
yeah. Well, oh, fuck the the Irish the Irish grew three things: barley, hops, potatoes. Right, that's pretty much it. Uh, because you can make alcohol out of it. But if barley was, and I'm inventing figures here, a pound a bushel in Ireland, a pound 50 a bushel in England, and you wanted to sell your barley for a pound 50 instead of a pound, you could have been taxed duty on it, and the person in England will still have got the £1 paid £1
Yeah.
50. You'd have
Yeah.
still got the pound, and the 50p would have went to the state. But with the Act of Union, the person in England still paid the £1 50, but you got the £1 50.
Yeah.
So there was that's how it freed up trade, because you got all of the money that you were supposed to be being paid for it. And the same if you were growing stuff in Scotland, or if you were marching Aberdeen Angus cows down into England, there was no duty on that. And like, we had most of our cows in Ireland then would have been for dairy. We produced that's the thing. We produced butter and cheese. Uh,
Yeah,
that
it's got
would
to
have
be the best butter on it in the British Isles. That is fantastic, if not the world.
yep.
Brilliant stuff.
Interestingly, uh, during the famine years, exports of barley, butter, and cheese were banned from Ireland during the famine years because people needed food.
Yeah.
Uh, it's often said that the reason why we had famines in Ireland was because our food was all sent to England. But the fact of the matter is, it was banned from being sold in England. And also, there's very little mention of the potato blights in Scotland that happened about 10 years before the potato blights in Ireland. And Rags has made a good point. Yes, potatoes for patching.
Yeah, I tell you what, that stuff's wicked. I've known a couple of lads who've gotten a handle on the real stuff because of, once again, of family connections. And you either light your fire with it or you drink it. I mean, there's no in between. It's great stuff. I mean, it'll get you there pretty fucking quick. I mean, the shit I was on, they reckon, well, they don't have exact numbers, but they reckon it was about 65%. And they said, that's not a particularly potent brew. I was like, really? Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's to be totally honest with you, I've been in places where it's been. I've tasted it once, and tasting it once was enough for me.
Well, yeah. Like I say, there's a little cider, but not cider as in the drink, but a little side snippet, as it were. You
yeah,
know, so you could be having a pint of Guinness or a pint of pud, as they used to say, a pint of Guinness, and a little sniff to the old poutine, or poutine, as some people call it. But I'll tell you something now. I had a similar experience. I was in Portugal, down in the Algarve region, but there's a little hamlet which is called the Monchique Mountains, which are literally sort of north of the coast, just above Portimao and Lagos are probably the most notable. So it's pretty much on the western side, not as far as Segres, but sort of that Portimao, Lagos, that sort of region. If you go north of there, there's a set of mountains called the Monchique Mountains. And there's a berry that grows there naturally called the madroño berry. And it looks a little bit like a prickly strawberry is the best I can take it. And when they go right, they look like strawberries. They go between sort of a yellowy colour to a deep red colour. And when they ripen, they do have a flavour of sort of strawberryish or sweetish flavour, but you have to be careful because if you eat too many of the raw ones, they give you the shit. But you can go up into the mountains where there's a lot of wild honey farms, and these guys knock out this Madronio liquor, and it's a pure, clear liquor, just like Puccini. And they decant, I think it's like the first 2 pints or 3 pints, depending on the size of the still. And that's just used for literally for lighting the fire. Because if you drink that shit, you'll go blind or die. Yeah. And
Oh,
it's
fuck.
a lot of stuff that comes from that. And it was very reminiscent of the poutine. It's a different flavour, obviously, because poutine's from potatoes and this is from the madroño berries. But I tell you now, I love that drink. I'm
Right,
not offended by that at all.
right. This goes back to the Dutch, right? Right across Europe, people used hops to make beer or
Yes.
whatever it was they had.
God bless you.
Right now, then the Dutch, I think it was juniperberries, and they made gin.
Yeah,
And
juniper berries is the flavour into gin, yeah.
right. So they found this way of distilling juniper berries into gin, and alcohol went from like the beer would have been roughly 2% alcohol, very low percent
Yeah, it
alcohol.
was what was called, was it small beer, wasn't it? Which
Yeah,
is what most of the ships carried
yeah.
as an alternative to water because the slight amount of alcohol content in that small beer was enough to keep
Oh,
you know
it
the water turning, wasn't it?
no, it's it's more than that. Clean water was incredibly hard to find. We had fucked up the rivers and the water wasn't clean. But whenever you turned it into beer, you had to boil it. Boiling it took out the imperfections, so the beer was safe to drink, the water wasn't. And so, like, it used to be that a farmhand or whatever would be entitled to 5 pint, 6 pints of beer a day.
Yeah,
Right?
a sailor was entitled to 8 pints of grog a day when he was serving in the British Navy. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Um,
because
and that was even back in when Captain Cook was
yeah,
on the thing. So he was entitled to his 8 pints of grog. And anybody who doesn't know what grog is, it's literally this piss poor weak beer mixed with rum to knock the old alcohol content up a bit.
yeah, right. So we had this beer all across the place that was being used in place of water, and then the Dutch found a way of distilling it and making their gin, and then that method went viral. And so the Irish used potatoes. Those people in Portugal used those berries. You used whatever it was you had that you could distill and make your own version of this. In Ireland's poachine. I don't know what the different names are all around Europe, but this happened everywhere. Really interesting thing.
Well, you've
See,
got you've got vodka, you've got
yep,
schnapps,
yes,
you've got Madronia, you've got Puccini. So I don't know if there was a British equivalent because obviously um, our brethren in the north they were doing us a favour with the old whiskey, weren't they? So
yeah,
magic
this is
darts.
true. Well, see whenever the British arrived in America and the first ship that went
Yeah.
over, they nearly died of thirst because they wouldn't drink the water, and they were sending people back to the ships saying they wanted their beer off the ships because they'd nothing to drink. And they had to force them to actually find clean streams in America which existed and drink that water. And then for about the first month, the only thing that happened where they landed was people cobbling together and getting the stuff to distill the water in the beer, something to make beer out of. And until then, fuck all functioned because the people just were not used with drinking water.
Well, you can, like I say, you can imagine that, but
Mm.
you know, even when we landed, I mean, the original people who landed, so the Mayflower crew, if you like, sort of the New Englanders, and I think a lot of them, and I think quite a few, destinated on what is now known as Rhode Island. So
Yep.
because it was one of the nearest points there, and they actually formed a relatively amicable relationship with the locals because they were
Oh,
pretty puritanical people. So
the first person to meet to go down to the boats was a Native American who rocked up speaking English and asked for beer because he had encountered them somewhere in like Norway or whatever. Because see whenever you look at America, in North America, and you look at the map and you see where Norway is and see where Greenland is, and then the distance to North America,
yeah.
it's hardly surprising that there wasn't interactions there.
Well, like I say, it's a fascinating thing, and you know, we all, you know, we have the story. Was it 1492 when Christopher Columbus sort of discovered America, the Americas sort of thing? But there's a lot of evidence, you know, provable sort of artifact evidence that suggests that the Vikings
Yep.
sort of, whether by reason or by accident, actually destinated um, on the east coast of the Americas, you know, as well. So
Yeah, it's the next landmass over,
yeah.
and the Vikings did do a lot of traveling by boat. They would sail anywhere.
and and also, you know, when people talk about, you know, Greenland being this, you know, oh, it was a con because they just wanted people to go there to Greenland, but really it was this icy wasteland. No, actually, no, it was very pleasant. It was a lot like Scotland and Northern Ireland of today, the
Yep.
sort of the climate.
Yes.
But like I say, the cyclical climate changes which we encounter, which are like sine waves. So they are cyclical, based sine waves within sine waves, which are based on our relative position to the sun, the angle of the Earth in position to the sun, and then the little sort of every 1,000 to 500 to 800 years blips in between, which are the various warming and cooling periods. So Greenland was relatively hospitable. It's only when modern science of the late 19th and early 20th century said, oh, yes, Greenland was completely inhospitable. That was only because they hadn't done shit like Arctic ice cores and stuff like that back then. So they were just doing the old guesstimate. But yet, even today, you know, these scurrilous, sorry to go off on a little tangent, these scurrilous remarks about how the world is boiling away. I mean, it's fucking freezing where I am at the minute for August. It's fucking freezing. So these wank stains that are coming out saying global boiling, I was about fuck you, because you know, it's just, we all know it's all about control. It's got nothing to do with the environment. It's got nothing to do with saving the planet. It's got nothing. It's all about deviating control to more and more supranational organizations. That's all that this bullshit is about, 100%. And like I say, you know, they talk about, because they took their little measurement device and said, right, what year across the last sort of span that we've had has been the lowest? It was like, was it 1961 or 1962? Oh, look, between then and now, oh, we've gone up by a quarter of a degree. Oh, we're baking away. Oh, we're boiling to death. Oh, about the 1930s. Shut up, you're racist. Oh, right, okay. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Well, I,
Unbelievable.
I tell you what, all bullshit on the side, right? Personally speaking, me, I do better in the summer than I do in the winter. Right? I do not like the
I hate the cold, and
I
I'm a fat bastard. Oh,
right.
look, I am a lizard. I can absorb heat. I am the size of a minor planet, and I like to say I don't make any excuses. But usually say, "Oh, you fat cunt, you don't like the wet." No, I hate being fucking cold.
It's it's the dark that does it for me, and because we are quite normally, our we go down to like 8 hours of light a day in the winter, and I absolutely hate it. And
Yes.
right, I'm a much happier person during the summer. And see, whenever you get to May, June, July, and August, I like to get out my bicycle in the evening when it's light, cycle through the forests, get out and about, and it lifts my mood through the summer, and that carries me through the winter, right? And it's something I really look forward to. I haven't turned the fucking wheel this summer because we have not had a dry day. Right? We have I tell you, uh we had like 4 dry days in a row a few weeks ago whenever I was on Bastard night shift, and so it didn't happen. But you know, but I keep on. So instead of in the news it being about Northern Ireland's wettest July on record, uh, the downturn, instead of that, I'm getting news about the temperature in Greece and the temperature in Rome, and now it's fucking South Korea with the Scout Jamboree, and it seems that the North Koreans didn't really organise the jamboree too well. It didn't have toilets in, it didn't have water facilities, whatnot. But and a lot of the Scout groups went, "Fuck this, we're going to hotels because this isn't sorted out." And the press are blaming it because of the fucking weather. It's fucking mad. And as much as I was saying earlier about the rewriting of history and rewritings of opinions and whatnot, they're rewriting the fucking weather in real time here. It is mad. And you often hear the expression, "Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining." But what the fuck? What they're doing is they're we're getting rained on and we're being told it's warm and dry.
Yeah, I just, when you saw, a couple of weeks ago when they were showing these sort of scorched earth, bowels of Hades images of, southern Europe and the Mediterranean and that. It's like, well, yeah, that's why people fucking go there on holiday, isn't it? Because it's a lot better than the 16 degrees we're enjoying here in the fucking UK. But once again, when you looked at those weather reports, especially by the disingenuous sort of mainstream channels, the ITV, BBC, by fucking shit like that, it was like, yeah, and we're going to cover the weather today. But first, let's look at Europe, how it's burning to death. I don't give a fuck about Europe if it's burning to death. What's happening here in the UK? So it'd be like blah, 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 and 46 here and 67. This sounds great. What's it like here? Yeah, it's fucking freezing. Oh, well,
Yep.
cheers, daft bitch. Thanks, cheers.
Shock news. Spain and Greece warm during summer. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? Yeah, what?
But it's like this. But the other thing, the other sleight of hand, which I think we mentioned last week in the three guys walked into a stream, was the fact that they did a little sleight of hand, and it was across the boards. They were all in lockstep. They all must have decided, because obviously, they had some plans so that DJ's favorite Antonio Gutierrez, the United Nations Director General, or otherwise known as that fat Portuguese cunt, they must have known what his speech was going to be about. So literally overnight, Yanks, Aussies, or basically the West and wider Anglosphere decided, yeah, we won't be using those air temperatures that give a relative temperature based on 3 meters above the surface. We're going to go for land temperatures. So we're going to start taking temperatures on red hot fucking tarmac and shit like that. Why? Well, because it looks like 10 degrees difference. That's why. And then, sorry, mate, 2 days later, the fat Portuguese cunt comes out and says, we are no longer in a stage of global warming. We are now in a state of And then he looks to his notes because he knows it's a fucking lie. Global boiling. Yeah, fuck you, you cunt. Fuck off.
You see, here's how this works. The United Nations controls the intergovernmental planning, the intergovernmental panel on climate change. So they tell them, uh, and also NASA, who deal with all the temperatures, uh, you they tell them here you need to get the temperatures up a bit. So they go, right, okay, we've got the here's how we do it. We'll take uh, ground temperatures. So then that goes back to the panel, and then the panel tell all their meteorologists, right, you're now taking ground temperatures. They get that email through. Ground temperature from now on? Yep. Are you sure? Yes, ground temperatures. So they all do it at the same time because it's all part of a big fucking one big cabal.
Well, but it is. And it's all in some fucking lockstep, isn't it? Where, here's this week's. It was no different when it was the COVID shit. So, it was.
You see, that came from the World Health the World Health Organization. They decided this is what we're going to do. They send out the rules for COVID, how you diagnose it, how you treat it, all of that stuff, and everybody has to fall in line with that. And
Well, that's why I sent you that image earlier on, because now, what I don't know if you, I saw a speech by an American senator, and this is surrounding the aliens are real and they've been real for a long time. We just haven't been able to tell you the truth for a long while, but now they're pushing the narrative on us to let us know that they are real, and we agreed that timeline. It's coming to the end now, and I watched this senator, right? Honest to God, I've got it in my history somewhere, so I can definitely find the link, and I can definitely post it into the chat. But it'll take me a couple of seconds just to find it. But
right.
You've got this senator, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, we've been in conversation with them, and they said yes, because of our existence, some of your people have been hurt, and some have maybe even been killed. But we want to tell you now, this was not our doing. This was by those people who wish to cover up our existence." Yeah, and then what does he go into? Oh, well, he goes into the fact that these aliens have told us that the reason why they're getting involved is because our water system is polluted, our fauna and flora system is polluted, and we've only got a very short amount of time to act in order to rectify this situation, if it isn't too late already. So basically, whatever the narrative is on climate change, the aliens have been telling us basically. Oh well, who would have fucking thought it? Yeah?
Who would have thunk that? The current bun.
Yeah.
The current bun. Alien invasion sparks twiglet shortage. Alien invaders sparked a panic buying across the UK when the current bun revealed that twiglets are the favourite salty snack. Fixed Dallow Corner shop owner Matata Kobe says
I think it's Mahatma Coat, mate.
Mahatma Coat. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's Mahatma Coat. Says that he fears that there will be a run on the twiglets worse than the toilet roll craze in 2020. We are only charging £20 a packet, and it said the shopkeeper, as a well-known pillar of the Hindu community. But local DJ and salted snack aficionado Bernard Collett?
Bernard Cruitt.
Bernard Cruitt had a different take. Today's twiglets, but how do we know that tomorrow won't be our brains? I mean, they're nice and salty too, aren't they? Said the DJ, sporting a pink Christopher Biggins fun jumper.
Yeah.
And there's a nice advertisement for Imodium if you've got the shits. It's yeah. Well, oh, I have got a bit of information about alien abductions. I know why they always happen at night. Because here's what it is. It starts with a conversation between an adult alien and a child alien.
Oh,
And
right.
yep, everybody with kids is going to recognize this story. And the adult alien is saying to the child alien, "It's 10 o'clock at night and you're only just now telling me you need a human for school in the morning."
Yeah. I mean, I tell you. But the thing is, like I say, this bloke, I don't know. See if I very quickly have a quick, because I don't know where. Let me just see. I think it was. I'll try and find now. Oh, for fuck's sake! I tell you what, adverts just drive me crazy. And I tell you something now, DJ. If you're listening, no, I'm not getting a fucking ad blocker. So enjoy those tomatoes.
Well,
Where is it?
if you fire the link in the private chat, I can get it in my. I currently block the ads.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember exactly where I saw it. That's the problem. But it literally was an American senator, and he was basically saying, "And these aliens have told us that if we don't change our ways, our water system is polluted, and this is thing, and we've only got certain." It's basically, if you take Al Gore's book, you know, The Uncomfortable Truth, which turns out to be an impractical lie. Yeah. If you take whatever was in Al Gore's book, but frame it in the terms of ET saying it rather than the idiot Al Gore,
Oh,
that's literally
yeah.
what came out of this senator's thing. So these, once again, there was a great. I'll tell you what I will do, because if I've got my, I haven't got it. I'll open my Telegram, because there was a great, there was a great meme. Yeah. I'll just stick that. This is brilliant. This is the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Yeah. I'll stick that in there. Yeah. There you go, mate. That's the truth of it. That's the
Right.
truth of it. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Hold on. I'll get this. Right. I'll get this fired up now. Bum, bum, bum. Just copy the picture. Right. Close that. Right. Right. Haha. Window. I wanted to believe it, but the government said it was real.
It's true, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? This is how
Yeah.
much. This is how much distrust there is in the you know, the managerial classes, or as I like to call them, the corporate shills pretending to be MPs, because that's what they are now. You know, they're not. They're just in the pocket of big corporations and the global hegemony. So it doesn't matter if they come out and tell you anything now. It'd be just like, yeah, don't fucking believe you. You know, in fact, I would say this: if aliens are among us, hey lads, you know, fancy tapping any of us up, us proper people, us normal people, and signing up with us and overthrowing these fuckers who shouldn't even be in government. You know, that's the way we should be looking at it. You know what I mean? But it's just, yeah, it's just, you know, it's just.
The problem is how many times can we catch the government out telling us blatant lies and still be expected to believe them?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's just pretty, but that's the way. Once again, it's all about keeping people off balance and at odds with one another. Because if we were balanced, And like I say, everything has to be a crisis, doesn't it? You know, it can't be a problem anymore. Everything has to be a crisis. It has to be a housing crisis. Has to be an NHS crisis. Has to be a crisis in Ukraine. Has to be this. Has to be the climate crisis. Has to be the COVID crisis. Everything's a crisis. Yeah, for the most menial of fucking inconsequential things, but they have to keep that. They have to keep the entire population across the entirety of the planet, but predominantly in the West and the wider Anglosphere. You know, the people, the nations, if you like, that had reason and sense up until about 20 fucking years ago.
Right.
Um,
I'm going to have to explain to Rags about his hat. See, whenever you go into the shop and you look at what you perceive to be tinfoil, look on the box and it's going to say aluminium foil. Now,
yeah,
tin deflects radio waves. Aluminium conducts them.
yes.
So we don't wear those tinfoil hats anymore. And people put about that would do in order to get other people to attempt to use them so it can get their radio waves into their head better. Just throw away the tinfoil hat. It doesn't work. It's actually it does more harm than good. We don't
But
use it.
but but once again, it's everything. Once again, everything has to be framed in those lights, and anyone, doesn't matter who they are, you know, a 79-year-old granny, a 10-year-old kid. It doesn't matter who they are. Anybody speaks truth to power or points out the hypocrisy of what's being said. You're far right. What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you are. But when you say far right, do you actually mean right so far, which is provably the case? But anyway, look, mate, I know this is your stream, and I don't want to. You
Yeah,
invited me on. I think probably under a false pretense because it was it
yeah,
was
but
DJ, and I came on to give him a bit of shit posting, but he didn't
yeah,
turn up, obviously. But I mean, I'm happy to stay on, but I'm conscious of you wanting to cover other topics.
right.
I would imagine, and then obviously you probably want to get a few other people on before the night's out. So, do you
Uh,
want me to piss off?
you can stay or jump off. I'm gonna do a little bit of where the fuck was it? Fuck. The stream management has gone to shit. Normal service will resume. I'm gonna do a little bit about. I'm going to. I'm going to finish off a bit about William II. Get to the bit about how he died because he was probably assassinated. Uh, I'm going to talk for about 2 minutes on the Lammas Fair, and then I'll open it up. So the question is, do you want to stay for that?
Well,
Approximately,
I'm easy, but like
yeah.
I say, I don't want to gazump your stream, and
No, no, you're very welcome. I would say there's probably 10 minutes, and I would also uh let you on for the Lammas Fair anyway. So
all right, mate. Well, I'll
yeah,
hang around, but I won't. I'll shut myself off now. And unless you say to me, "What do you think about that, you fat
yeah,
bastard?" I'll keep my mouth shut while you get on with it. Yeah.
yeah,
In fact,
right.
you can take me out the street. I'll go and sit in the background if you want, mate, while you carry on.
No, you're fine to sit there. Uh, right, hold on. Where, right, here we go. The last event of William II's reign is remembered for. Oh, boom, boom, boomer. Would help if they actually presented the thing I was going to talk about. That would help. William Rufus, sure. Right. The last event that William II's reign was remembered for is nearly as well discussed as his supposed homosexuality. That bit's bullshit, this bit's not. On his death, on a hunting expedition in the New Forest with his brother Henry and numerous others, an arrow pierced William's chest and entered his lungs. He died not long after. That'll do it pretty much every time. It has been argued that his death was an assassination plot by his brother Henry, who not long after his older brother's death raced to be crowned king before anyone could contest it. The supposed assassin, Walter Terrace, fled to France following the incident, which over time commentators have viewed as an admission of guilt. Yet hunting was not a particularly safe or well managed sport at the time. Hunting accidents occurred frequently and were often fatal. Tyrrell's flight could well have been just the fact that he had killed, even accidentally, the King of England. In addition, fratricide was considered a hugely ungodly act and particularly heinous crime that would have undermined Henry's rule from the outset, even if whisper of it had taken hold of the country. The truth is, much like the rumours and discussion of William's sexuality, his death is and will likely remain a mystery. So, Sansa, what do you reckon? Was he done in?
Well, all I can say is, based on historical evidence, if you look at Edward II, so obviously Edward I was Edward Longshanks, the Hammer of the Scots. Well, if you believe the propaganda, Edward II was supposed to be a little bit limp in the wrist, shall we say, and he died of a red hot poker up the arse. So I'm assuming that maybe back in those days, being a bit of a batty boy wasn't great publicity for the realm. So, if you had those proclivities, I mean, there's always been a question about that Scot, James I. I mean, there's been massive question marks over him. But I don't know. The problem is they will find a derogatory circumstance to use against certain monarchs in order to cast them in a dim light. And once again, a similar sort of thing happened after Richard III was defeated by Henry Tudor, Henry VII. He was basically propagandized and made out to be all the evil bastards under the sun. But the reality was, now that they've dug a little bit deeper, was that Richard III wasn't really the tyrant that people made out. It was all Tudor propaganda. So who's to say, mate? Who's to say?
Well, I definitely think his brother had him bumped off. Whether that was to do with his proclivity, or I think his brother wanted to go up being king, and he decided to knock him off.
Well, like I say, that's there have been many instances across the entirety of time since known empire. I mean, you just have to look at the Roman Empire. We had that stability of the 5 noble emperors, but then we also had the year of the 5 emperors. So, the year where there was literally 5 different emperors in a year. So everybody's trying to vie for that position of power, whether or not they are suited to wield it or not. And like I say, the one who probably pulled it off the best was Octavius. So obviously Julius Caesar, Ides of March, gets assassinated in the Senate. That kicks off a war between Octavian, or Octavius as he became, and Mark Antony. Octavius was the victor. And then when his power was getting a bit high and all the senators and everybody was saying, look at this fucker here, he's supposed to be, he's first among equals here, sort of thing. The princeps, as it used to be called, where we get the word prince from, because that's what Julius Caesar was. He was known as princeps, in other words, the first among equals. And the reason why they managed to diddle old Julius Caesar was because they said, because he wasn't going to turn up at the Senate, because he knew there was some shit going on and there might be assassination attempt. And like I say, one of the conspirators said, "Oh, you need to go to the Senate." Well, why? Well, they're going to make you king. No, they are. That's the
Gonna
reason
fucking
why they
murder
all
you.
want you there. Yeah. So he went there thinking he was going to be, crowned king of, the Roman Empire, and they killed him instead. That ensued to a civil war. Octavius then, or Octavian, as he was then when he was younger, became Octavius, the Caesar Octavius. And then just as his power was getting a little bit, the Senate was saying, look at this fucker, he's got a little bit too much power here. He turned around and said, yeah, I don't want any of this power anymore. I'm going to give it all back to the Senate. Went, oh, fuck, we don't want this because shit, it'll all collapse in on itself again. Tell you what, mate, how's about you become an emperor, Emperor Augustus, life peer sort of thing? Yeah, I'll do that for you. And there ended the lesson. And then we went through, various different emperors, of varying calibers, but there was a period of stability when the Roman Empire was at its highest, which was at which was a period known as the five noble emperors, and the reason why, believe it or not, stability ensued at that time was because every single one of the emperors that succeeded their predecessor, they were adopted kids. So essentially, you had Antonio Pius, Neva, Marcus Aurelius, well, not Marcus Aurelius, but you had Hadrian, Trajan, and then Marcus Aurelius. And they all adopted people. They all adopted sons, but they adopted sons because they said, yeah, you know what, mate? I reckon you'll be a hell of an emperor, so I'm going to adopt you for emperor, which obviously pissed off, the girding of the loins crew. But once again, it did serve because they picked people who had the interests of the nation at best heart rather than their own personal interests. The first person to break that rule at that time was Marcus Aurelius. He chose his son Commodus, who was very misaligned in historical terms because he wasn't the sort of out and out tyrant that people make him out to be and all this crap in the movies and everything. Basically, Commodus just couldn't be asked. Basically, Commodus thought that his dad was going to do pretty much the same as that every fucker else had done prior to that, which was, oh, he'll adopt some fucker who's half decent, but he didn't. So Commodus comes to the throne, and he was a bit of a chad. Old Commodus he used to like doing javelin and gladiator fights and all shit like that. He didn't really enjoy the statecraft, as it were, and that's why it went to shit under him. It wasn't really a lot to do with Commodus being this nasty evil bastard who killed his father, sort of thing. That they co-ruled for a while anyway. So it wasn't really the gig. That's what the Hollywood shit wants to tell you. But once again, it's all to do with people wanting that essence of power. And with that, you'll obviously get people who are bad actors who won't necessarily do what's in the interests of the nation. They will take their own way first. And like I say, people put on a pedestal, you mentioned him earlier on, mate, on that flag, the old Richard I or Richard the Lion, the Coeur de Lion, hated fucking England. He fucking hated England. He couldn't abide being in the fucking country. I think he spent less than 6 months in England. Most of the time he was in his territories what were his mother's, Eleanor of Aquitaine. He hated being fucking here. And yet, Richard the Lion, the great crusader, this. I'll tell you something now, even though John was a tyrant, he probably did more for this nation than fucking Richard did, put it that way.
Well, Richard loved conquest, loved being in battle, and there wasn't one here to be had. So there's partially that, but he probably didn't like the weather.
Well, once again, it could be something as simple as that, but it was, it's what you have to think about is that all monarchs and all, even if you look at Mary Tudor, Bloody Mary, when she took the throne, she wasn't a tyrant. She grew into being a tyrant because all of the people who she had as advisors, plus also her health wasn't in the best because, she ended up being poorly. She had what they believed to be, she thought she was pregnant, but it was actually a cancer of the uterus or the cancer of the womb. We don't fully know because obviously people don't go back that far. But prior to her insecurities over not being able to produce a child, she wasn't really that bad of a monarch. She was a Catholic monarch and she wants to marry she married a Catholic prince. But the reality was, even though she wasn't Protestant, she wasn't that bad. She turned into the tyrant, if you like, yeah?
Also, it probably took her to be very brutal in order to keep control.
Well, yeah, you say that, but then that didn't play out with regards. I mean, yeah. So Queen Elizabeth, she wasn't opposed to the odd beheading here and there, but in reality, she had Thomas Wolsey, as her chief advisor, and even though they pressurized her into, you should get married, we need progeny, blah 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 blah, because the country will become unstable. They were under no illusions that she was the monarch and she was a strong leader. But this is why I say, the whole notion of these fucking, what is it? I like to use the word womanist now because I caught on that one by one of these blokes who's talking about feminists. It's not feminist, it's womanist. But these womanists, shall we say, they like to portray our nation as being this 100% misogynistic nation. And yet, when you look at the periods of history in our time, going back to the Roman invasion, all the way through to the time of even, like, say, a Margaret Thatcher, yeah? If we were that nation, those people wouldn't have existed in those positions of power. And yet, people like Queen Boudica or Boadicea, however you want to pronounce it, in the time of, the Queen of the Iceni, absolutely loved and adored by their people. Good Queen Bess, Queen Elizabeth II, loved and adored by her people. Victoria, and Queen Anne, probably one of the great finest minds of a ruler that this country's seen. When the politicians were shit, she had stability. Queen Victoria, all the way through to Margaret Thatcher. One thing you can't deny, whether you liked Margaret Thatcher's policy or you hated them, she was a strong leader.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean? And so the very notion of, it's all misogynistic is bullshit. Basically, the British people, if you're a good enough leader and people believe in what you're selling, they will follow you. It's as simple as that.
Do you know where the term feminism comes from?
It's womanism now, mate. I've been converted.
Right. No, but the actual term feminism only appeared in the 1960s.
Yeah, exactly. When the pill came out, probably.
Oh no. When the CIA invented it.
Oh yeah. Well, they invent most things.
You have the CIA. You have the CIA to thank for the whole feminist movement. See that Ms. magazine that was run by, no, it wasn't Valerie Solange. What do you call her? Oh Christ, the name escapes me. Blonde-haired feminist Gloria Steinem.
Oh, I remember. I was thinking of that Aussie lass. What was her name again? Germaine Greer.
Germaine Greer. Oh, yeah. Gloria
but
Steinem.
She changed the tune towards the end because she saw the end game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gloria Steinem set up. Well, Gloria Steinem, in conjunction with the CIA, set up Ms. Magazine, and from there, your modern feminism begins. That's it, and the use of the term feminism. Everything before that, like the women who were campaigning for votes that got them on the exact same day that men got votes. By the way, they were suffragettes. The American women with their Declaration of Sentiments were suffragettes. The first use of the term feminism was in the 1960s. There's a little bit of history with this. I'm going to move on to the Lammas Fairs. I'm going to do this via the medium of a video. I'm going to show you a video of one from the 1960s. If you want to find out great detail about the Lammas Fairs, there is a stream on my. If you go on my channel, it got the Lammas Fair stream. You'll find it's got all the details. Basically, it was a fair that happened in August, and they happened right across the. Hold on. The bankers and Rockefeller were involved with funding the movement, but it was the CIA's brainchild. Right, they happened in August, where people would come to these fairs, they would find jobs, they would do whatever. Oh, fuck. Yes, and since when did the CIA worry about whether or not the people that were doing their bidding were communists? You'll find a lot of that. It's really strange. So they would have came to these fairs. They would have gained work. They would have also gained partners and whatnot. It was sort of a coming together. And it was also the day, one of the quarter days whenever rent were due. And these fairs were all across Britain, across Europe as well. They're down out. There's only a few left. And I'm going to play a video from the Lammas Fair in Ballycastle from the 1950s. It's actually 1964. And I'll let us all have a look at this and what it was like. And then Sam and I is going to talk about this, and then we'll put the link in the chat. Check this is sharing. It is.
My young love said to me.
I'm going to pause this. This thing that they're eating, that is called Yellow Man. It's sort of semi like honeycomb. It's very sweet. There's a lot of sugar. It's hard as a brick. Yeah, but that's what that is. That's called Yellow Man. It's pretty unique to parts of Northern Ireland.
My mother won't mind, and my father won't spite you for your lack of kind. And she stepped away from me, and this she did say: it will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair. And fondly I watched her go here and go there. And she went her way homeward with one star away. as the swan in the evening moved over the lake. The people were saying that no two were wed, but one has a sorrow that never was said. And I smiled as she passed me with her goods and her gear, and that was the last word I saw of my dear. I dreamt it last night that my young love came in. So softly she entered, her feet made no din. She came close beside me, and then she did say, it will not be long, love, till our wedding day.
There we go. That's your Lammas Fair in Ballycastle. Uh, I am going to, if it works out, I'm going to get up to this year's version and get some video footage from this year's, and I'll let you all see how much it has changed. And that could be
I was going to say 42 because I've just dropped a link in here because this is the one up in Antrim. I remember a few lads when I was working over there mentioning it, but I was away because it was on at the weekend. But yeah, it's. You look back in those days, and people say, "Oh, you can't look back," but fuck me, I wish we could. Jesus,
well,
you know what I mean?
that yeah. Yep, that's the same place, mate. That's your Lammas Fair in Ballycastle. It's probably the only. It's only one that I know of, and still going.
Yeah, it's up. It is in Antrim, though, isn't it? It's in the north, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Northern Ireland, it's in Antrim. I'm going to actually put that up, present that. Share screen. Yep. There we go. There's a picture of it currently. Look, you can see the ferry to Cushion Doll.
It's
Cushion
still a
Dublin.
beautiful place, though, isn't it?
Yep, it is. Ireland's oldest fair returns to the beautiful seaside resort of Ballycastle for another year of trading, bargaining, and a programme packed with entertainment. Sample the famous local Yellow Man or Dulce and wander around the naturally north coast and Glen Artisan Market, which features fresh local produce, quirky handmade crafts, fine art. Experience the hustle and bustle of a horse trading village and get a thrill of the many fun fair rides simply taking the atmosphere and banter. Yep, they still do horse trading at that fair. Where you see them out in the street and they're bargaining and whatnot. It is good. Yeah, it's always packed. Yeah, but those fairs used to be right across our island, and now there's very few. It's unfortunately it's another one of our traditions that are
being targeted for change to something else that wasn't meant to be. But did you notice a Ragsall stuck a comment in there? I mean, I dare to know if that's true, but if it is, that's a tragedy. The hotel's now being used to home the refugees, as it were.
I'm going to check that out, Rex. I honestly don't know.
Packer, how you doing? You calling me out on the stream here, you bugger?
I honestly don't know, but I'm sure I'll be able to find out.
What was I calling you out on?
I can't remember, but I called you a fucker, so it's probably...
Well, no, I am a fucker. That's fair enough.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't Packer, it would be fucker, but they wouldn't let you have that name, so, yeah.
Packer. I might change it.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I wasn't... Was that because I was calling you a boomer? Was that it?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I am though.
Yeah, me also. I wasn't calling you. I was fucking taking your arm and raising your hand in the air. Me and you both.
Exactly. Have you got ad blockers, Packer?
Yeah, but I've only got ad
blockers.
Oh,
here we go.
No.
Mute him, 42. I'm not listening to this shit here.
Let the man speak.
Only because the Gen Z that I got my computer off put ad blocker on it for me. Otherwise, I would be sitting in the corner cussing at the adverts just like you. Because
I like to keep it on because it annoys DJ more than it does me.
No, you're keeping it real. That's what you're doing.
Oh, you haven't got the Sterling, mate. What's going on there? Is that a rolly? Proper rolly?
Yeah, I'm skint.
Oh, mate, I tell you what. Tell me about it. Yeah. Can you send me one through the internet?
Inflation. How much has inflation gone up this year? And my pay rise was 20 pence an hour. I was fucking livid. I'm like, what? Surely you've got a decimal point in the wrong place there somehow. But yeah.
Anyway, we better let the foreigner in.
Mr. Viking, what about you, chum?
Not bad, 42. How's yourself?
Doing good.
Yeah, good. I just got a bone to pick with you, Mr. Sensom. How dare you call me a foreigner earlier? I'll punch you on the nose for that.
What was it, foreigner? I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. That's foreigner, innit? That's you, innit? Upset Viking.
No, that's why I'm upset because you've annoyed me.
Are you a foreigner?
Fuck you. You're a foreigner. In Scotland, you would be a foreigner. You'd be a Sassenach. So get up.
I might be, but I might also get a pass if you base it on the grandparent rule. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's why for a long time the Ireland squad, the Bobby Charlton Ireland squad, that was basically the England B team, wasn't it? The likes of your Andy Linnegans and people.
I don't know. How the hell?
Of course you don't know because you're a foreigner. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, well. Anyway, how's yourself, Sensom and Packer?
Here, Packer. Bass is having a go at you.
Hang on, I'm answering Baz, who's already pissed off because he's seen me twice today.
Yeah.
When are we going to see you, Baz? Come on.
Oh fuck.
What
That's the
do
way
you
it
want to know?
goes. I think he's just like your farts, mate. It's all good.
Bring it on. I'm way too thick-skinned and stupid to bother.
Yeah. So, how's everything with you, excited or upset as you are this evening?
No, I'm all right now. I got it off my chest. I got to confront the man himself. Everything's mighty fine. On Tuesday, I'm going to Germany for 4 days, and that'll be fun.
Are you staying there?
No, unfortunately, no. I'm just going for a short
sake,
holiday.
So we're getting another one back. Fuck me. Like I say, the fucking herpes. Once they're here, you can't get rid of the bastards, can you?
Yeah, whereabouts in Germany are you for?
I'm going to Cologne. That's
Well, that smells nice.
The Rhine. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to see a friend for a few days and then eventually make the long journey back home. And other than that, I've just some time off work and I'm just enjoying the free time. And that's
Sounds
me.
good.
Yeah.
And
enjoyed tonight's stream. It's one of my favourite topics, the Act of Union.
Yeah, something I haven't really.
Just out of interest, 42. When did they include Copenhagen in that, mate?
Yeah. Well, here.
Now I know why people end up getting found dead in ditches. That's you, Sensum. You're going to be found dead in a ditch.
No, that's Pachin, mate. It's very strong stuff, mate. Honestly.
Pachin will put you in the ditch.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, there is a long tradition of Vikings coming to these islands.
I did, Billy.
Yep, Vikings are not new about these parts. They've been coming over in their boats and stealing our money and raping our women since fucking the 1100s.
Well, at least since the 10th century, 42, because at least maybe a century before William the Conqueror came onto the shores of England. So they've definitely been around for about 150 years prior.
I said this earlier. These isles are made up of people that have been invading here for 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get everywhere. They didn't get all the way through Scotland. They didn't get all the way through Wales. They didn't get to Ireland. But what it means is 2,000 years of that. This is an island of fucking winners. That's what we are.
That's a very good point. The people that inhabit our islands are the people whose forefathers have been victors in battle to stay here.
Yep. We've either kept them or we've took them.
Yep.
That's all we're made up of.
And now you get on a dinghy, you're in forever.
Well,
right. Cheers.
See, this comes
not a shot fired.
Not yet.
This comes down to my theory on the hedge clippers. We're a nation of basically nice people. And if you walk up to us in the afternoon and say, "Here, mate, can I borrow your hedge clippers?" We'll go into your shed and we'll hand you the hedge clippers. We'll say, "There you go."
Yeah.
But if you come and attempt to break into the shed to steal the same hedge clippers at 2:00 in the morning, we'll fucking kill you.
Or if you haven't offered them back by next weekend.
Oh, no. Here's where the problem is. There's people borrow a set of hedge clippers, and a year later, whenever the person needs their hedge clipped, they haven't got the hedge clippers back, and they're going to buy themselves a new set. Because I'm not going to start that up over a set of hedge clippers. And what we have done is we have extended that generosity, ability to get along to people who are, we've lost somewhere in this thing whereby we used to have people that came in longboats and tried to invade them and fought them off. We had armies that came and we fought them off. We had Romans that came and we fought them off because they came looking for a battle. Now we've got people coming looking for hospitality, and we have a percentage of the population that are soft as shit and have too much. They've got something wrong with their makeup. They've got no in-group perspective, and they're just saying, "I come on in, come on in, come on in," and that's where our problem is.
Yeah. They're blissfully unaware of their surroundings, 42. I believe we call them Marxist, demented, woke lefty Marxists who don't know their arse from their elbow. But they're going to have a very rude awakening one day when their arse is on the block there, or their head. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody should be made to live in the environment that they advocate for.
Yeah.
I think that everybody that goes to a pro-migration rally should not be going home without a migrant. We've got plenty of migrants.
I agree.
Yep.
I think that what we'll do is we'll hold a pro-migrant rally inside a hall, a big, massive hall, and everybody turns up for it. Whenever we get them all into the seat, we close the doors, lock them, bring them up on the stage one by one, go, "Here's your migrant, take them home," and push them out the
it's
door.
less than 100 years ago when we were living 4 or 6 to a room. So if that's what you want, go for it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, but we know they'll never take them. It's just virtue signaling.
No. But under this, they would be forced to. This is your migrant, take it home.
Yeah.
Well, what would be the punishment if they don't?
They don't get to go home.
Okay. They just stay in the hall.
Yeah. They're there. They're a captive until they take it home.
Your home is given to a migrant.
On the way in, we're going
to
on the way in, we're going to have this form, and on the top it's going to say, "I support migrants' rights," and blah blah blah. And then down at the very bottom, in the small print that they're not going to read that far, it's going to say, "I agree to take a migrant home to my house." And they all signed at the bottom on the way in the hall, and you pull it out. There you go. There's a contract. Take your migrant and fuck off.
Yeah, and if you disagree, your home is given to a migrant, and when you get back to that house, it's up to the migrant whether or not he lets you in.
No, the migrant's going. The migrant's going to that house, whether you agree or not. That's fucking class. And anybody that wants to campaign for open borders, I have the same sort of a thing, and they're not allowed to have any locks on their doors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. You don't think borders are a good idea? You don't think locks are a good idea? Right, that's fine. No locks on your front door.
Yep.
Yeah.
See how long it is before they change their mind.
Oh, they'll change it right away. But before that, they'll make excuses for not all migrants are bad. There's just 1 or 2 bad apples. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, they still have to go to a house with no locks.
Yeah.
And take a migrant home if they go to that hall. I like that idea. It's good.
That's the best way to solve this shit. The only way, like or lump it, the only thing that changes behaviors is consequences, and currently there are 0 consequences.
Yeah, bridges, not walls. That's what we need to drum in: walls, not bridges. But consequences for their stupidity is what will finally wake them up, I'm afraid to say. Violence and sexual assault is what's going to wake these people up. And I do not like to say that, but that's the reality, gentlemen.
But the people that advocate for that do not live in places where there's violence.
Oh, no. They're all middle class, well to do, privileged little fuckers, pardon, bastards, who live in practically all white communities and sometimes gated communities if they're that wealthy with private roads.
Oh, the amount of gated communities in Great Britain is through the fucking roof. They are springing up everywhere, and not
Oh, I know.
not just in wealthy areas. Like up the road from me, there are houses with gates around them and whatnot. Nah,
Yeah.
they're not gates that you couldn't climb over if anybody really wanted in could. But these are sets of houses and flats where you've got a key fob that opens the gate to let your car in and everything. So, and the amount of those appearing in Britain are
So you want a border on your country, but you don't want a border on your country, but you're happy to have a gate on your community. Can you explain that?
Yeah,
that's their rational. Oh, it's for security. When I was a student,
What?
When I was a student, I lived in student halls, and we had a 8-foot high security fence with spikes on the top, and some called kind of anti-scaling material. And I tried to climb it, but it was impossible, just for a joke. But that was an example. They said it was to keep out all the crackies and all the junkies. But do you know what? No one ever bothered anybody. It was very rare anything ever happened because it was security personnel walking 24/7. So I know what you mean by gates.
Sure. What about that music festival that we had this year?
Oh, Glastonbury.
Glastonbury. Yeah, where pretty much everybody on the every act claim was saying something about no borders and whatnot. What about the fucking fans around the festival?
Yeah. Why don't they take that down and let everybody in for free if they're against borders and walls?
Yeah.
But you know I've just dropped a link in the private chat there, right? And this was one of the best bits of propaganda this week, this bloody shit, because these idiots turn up at Rishi Sunak's North Yorkshire home, and this was the BBC, and the BBC, the first thing they say is, oh, we don't normally show footage from activist groups. They actually showed themselves filming it with wide-angle lenses, all this expert equipment. They were there to film all of this shit, so they haven't been handed the footage. They were there. They were filming these people going through these things, and they say, oh, no, we weren't. It wasn't us. It wasn't. You fucking were, because the quality of the footage, when it shows you like the actual footage taken by the protesters and the BBC's own footage, chalk and cheese. It's like the difference between, a sort of a 340p video versus broadcast quality BBC. The BBC can't turn up that quickly, and they say, oh, we were given, fuck off. It was so quickly that they managed to turn up, or allegedly turn up. It's just bollocks, because it's pushing the narrative of this climate bollocks and all this minute. And the next thing is they're saying, oh, the police don't know how this managed to, because the police probably fucking invited them in.
Well,
they sent someone to Greenpeace headquarters, didn't they? And when Greenpeace went, what are you doing here? What? We don't want you here. He just went, what? I'm just not allowed to rock up on your property? Uninvited? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right. So here we go. 5 people have been arrested after activists climbed on the roof of the Prime Minister's home to protest 100 new North Sea oil and gas licenses. Okay, where do you hear this? Back in 2013, there was a kid at school who had a local youth club that was closing. And so he went along and filled in the forms, and he was going to organize a protest at the local conservative office, right? You know, where in the town centre, whatever, they have the office where you can go. So they were going to go and protest that at the closing of the youth club. It was going to be a bunch of kids saying, please come and have our youth club, with placards and whatnot. The fucking anti-terrorism police rocked up at his school, took him out of class without his parents, and explained to him that if there was any trouble at the demonstration about his youth club, that he would be arrested and culpable for it. And he said, right, well, okay, I'll not go. And they said, oh, no, it doesn't matter whether you go there or not, because you're the person that organised it. You're responsible for it. And what's more, I can't remember who the Prime Minister was. He says, but there's a probability that the Prime Minister is going to be in the office that day. So that means that his armed security is going to be there. And so if anything does kick off, you never know what happens. And this was the 14-year-old kid. Now we've got somebody that's protesting against the climate. They get to go to the Prime Minister's house. They get to put up scaffolding. They get to put up roof ladderings. They get to put up all the equipment that's needed to hang this black fabric. They get the time to be there. They get covered in the press and the media.
Or if you're from a certain desert
so,
religion.
Yeah,
right. So this has obviously been treated 100% different than the 14-year-old kid that wanted his youth club to be kept open and the funding for it not to be removed.
I know this is a dumb question, but should we just clarify? Was he a white lad by any chance?
I believe he was. I'm going to have a look and see.
That.
Judging from the reaction of the police, I would say yes, most definitely a white lad.
They wouldn't have said that to a brown lad, would they?
Right. Oh no, of course, that would be racist, and we can't be racist.
Yeah.
What are we,
racist? We
racist?
apply the law equally to you.
Yeah. Otherwise, what are we, racist? Yeah, that banner that they put over the Prime Minister's house, I wouldn't have minded if it simply said, Rishi Sunak is a plonker. And he's out of
don't get me wrong. I think Rishi Sunak's a knob jockey.
It's something that resonates with all of us. Yeah,
it's the application of the rule that does my fucking head in.
No, but it's the fact that they can get through a supposed secure area and get up on the roof. That is a serious breach of security, and whoever is the chief security officer should be sacked on the spot for allowing that.
Yeah, no, because they just wandered up with a fucking Just Stop Oil lanyard on and went, and the security went, oh yeah, through you go, mate.
Yeah,
you're just because you're who you are. It's the same as it has as a parliament. It's just like, oh, sorry, rights for men, no, fuck off. Just Stop Oil, in you go.
Yeah. Well, most of the guys that take part in the Just Stop Oil are all simps and pussy heads anyway. They're hoping to get their leg over the girls that usually throw the things at whatever it is. I mean, you look at these things,
though, isn't it? That is the funniest thing, though.
Right.
That is what I take solace in. Is like, no.
Simpy pussy head boys. They would wear pink pussy hats.
What she doesn't want is another one.
Yeah.
Right. Here you go. Police sorry for questioning schoolboy over protest at David Cameron's office. Nicky Wiltshire, 12, should not have been spoken to without his mother present. Thames Valley Police says. I think that should actually say parent present, but we'll let it go. There's a picture of the guy. Yep.
Oh yeah, such a notorious terrorist. I mean, look at him. Look at the havoc he could cause. Oh wow.
Right. Police have apologized for taking a 12-year-old boy out of lessons last week to question him about a planned picket outside David Cameron's constituency office. Nicky Worship, a pupil at Bartholomew School in Elshire, Oxford, organised a protest in an attempt to save his youth club. and 20 others in the area from closure in March, a consequence of the 4.2 million cuts in Oxfordshire County Council Youth Service budget. Wiltshire set up a Facebook page with a 13-year-old friend to advertise the protest. It attracted more than 130 people, mainly children and young teenagers from the surrounding youth clubs in the Whitney area, where Cameron is a local MP. 5 days before the peaceful picket, the school was contacted by anti-terrorist police after they saw the page, according to Wiltshire's mother, Virginia Pepys. Police Inspector Jack Mahady, Thames Valley's local area commander in West Oxfordshire, said, with the benefit of hindsight, it would have been far more appropriate to have made the inquiries from Nicky in the presence of his mother. I deeply regret and apologise for the impact that it might have had on Nicky and his family. I would like to reassure people that our contact with Nicky was primarily to make him aware of the risks and to have an idea on the scale of the protest.
Yeah. But fortunately, it turned out that Nicky was white and from this country, and therefore he kept his job.
Yeah. Despite the threat of arrest, Witchart went ahead with the protest last Friday at the youth centre means loads to me, and it's the only thing we have to do in action. Now, but there's the thing. The police, the security detail around the Prime Minister's house, that's there 24/7. They let these people rock in and they arrest them at the end. But that's a total different way that this young lad, this fucking 12-year-old, police rocking up the school. It is fucking nuts.
Can you imagine how scared that boy must have been when the police were talking to him like that? But the people they should have been speaking to like that were those idiots that basically scaled up on the roof. They are more, I see them more as terrorists, because you don't know what they've got in their bags or under their jumper. They could have a bomb or anything. It's just the cowardly difference in the two-tier system, depending on what side you're on, you know? It really annoys me.
Yeah. How everything's policed is dependent upon what the narrative is. How everything's reported in the press.
What's spoiling my piss is what the process is about, and therefore how it's policed.
Oh, I tell you better than that. We have totally lost law and order. Do you remember do you remember the people that pulled down the statue in
Bath? Was it?
No,
Bristol.
Right.
Begins with William Colton statue.
Right. Yes. Well, did you know what they went to court?
I know.
Right. Do you know what the verdict was?
Well, very naughty. You shouldn't do that again. Probably.
No. The verdict was not guilty.
Well, not guilty of doing what was filmed that they were doing.
Yes. What happened was they went into court. They admitted pulling down the statue. They admitted it was them. And the jury said not guilty on the basis of you were probably right to do it. So we're going to give you a not guilty verdict.
But they were not given a complete discharge. They were basically given a warning, and it will go on their records.
Oh, so no. Yeah. You can't give a punishment to somebody that has been found not guilty. What will happen? Right. What will happen is there'll probably be a caution attached.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There'll be a caution attached, and it'll be on the record that they were in court. But it will also be on the record that they were found not guilty.
Yeah, but it's only because of who they were, because of the team they were bagging for. If that had been a White Lives Matter group, they would have been thrown in the slammer along with everybody.
Yes, but the decision was made by the jury.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you need to understand. The decision was made by the jury. Now,
says a lot for the jury.
Right, yes. Oh, it says a lot for our law and order system because it's fucked. Because now we have juries that are willing to give a guilty or not guilty verdict based on their politics rather than the actual facts of the case, which
Yeah.
means that our legal system and our jury trials are fucked.
Yeah, all these jury members, they're all obviously lefties and they agree with them, but they're letting their personal beliefs get in the way of a judiciary decision, and that's wrong.
Because they disagree with the law and they want to tear down the system.
Yes, but the problem is now this is going to now force us to trials where we have judges as opposed to a jury.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to end up going to deadlock courts with 3 judges making a decision on guilt or innocence.
Okay.
Because
Right, hang on, but right, I hear what you're saying, and I agree there's a problem with that. However, I would rather take 3 random judges than 12 leftists that are going to ignore the law and decide that me pulling down a statue and throwing it in the harbour is not illegal. Do you follow?
Yeah, I do follow.
Neither is a good. Neither is a good thing.
But the way our legal system is supposed to work is you're supposed to have lawyers that argue the points of law, what evidence is laid in, what evidence is laid out, and then you're supposed to have
a jury that listens to them.
Right, but the jury is there to make a decision based on did they do what a rational, normal person would do, or did they go past the law?
Oh,
that's a jury's job. Were they right, were they wrong, but not the actual points of law. So I don't know. I think there should there's no method of going after the jurors for perjury or anything like that.
But then again, jury is picked from the public. What the hell do they know about judiciary?
The reason why they're picked from the public is because they're supposed to, on the basic right and wrong of it.
But at the beginning of the trial, the law should be explained to them.
Oh yeah, it is. The law is explained.
Right, and clearly they've gone, fuck the law.
Yeah, they have disregarded the law. The jury's supposed to be for 2 people have a fight, and you hear all of person A's argument about it, all of person B's, and then the jury's supposed to be the lawyers are supposed to do the legal arguments. The judge is supposed to say what evidence come in, what evidence can't, and make everything fair and have their argument. And the jury's supposed to be sitting in the middle going, right, obviously from what we can see, we agree that person A instigated this, person A was the aggressor, and they are the person who's found guilty, and person B wouldn't have done anything had they not been attacked. So therefore, they're the person that's innocent, person A is the person that's guilty. But they have went way past that and went, yeah, we don't care what they did. They've got the right moral ideas, so we're just going to let the person off. It's called jury nullification, and it's not good. But this is now where we're at. We can't even have a proper fucking trial.
So are you think jury service should just be abolished in favour of 3 judges?
No. It's a bigger question than that. It's do you know what I think should have happened? That trial should have been moved to somewhere that was not where it happened. I don't think
that would have been a good option.
Right. They could have moved that to
even to London.
They could have moved it. They could have moved it to London. They could have moved it to the Highlands and had a Highland jury pool. They could have moved it to they could have moved it to Cornwall and had a Cornish jury pool.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sorry to cut in there. I just realised the jury would all be local people, so they're all in favour of this anti-white agenda. So there we have the
Yes.
problem. Bringing in ideological.
Yep. So if the other question is, how far does this go? Because if you allow this to continue, you're going to have people found guilty or innocent based on their race.
And their belief, more their beliefs in that, yeah. But the race won't affect the BAMEs and all the protected categories, but it'll be open season on Indigenous British people.
Yep.
Yeah. What a disgusting shit world we live in, really. Clown world turned topsy-turvy many times over.
Right. Well, on that, is anybody else got anything they want to talk about?
No, that's cheered me up. That's cheered me right up, Daz. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah, I had one thing I just want not to talk about, just to ask you. I know you said earlier about no bonfires this year. What's the reason for that?
Oh, no. I meant no bonfires in this stream. This is right.
Oh, okay.
Right. It turns out that a shitload of our British traditions involve a bonfire. Right.
Yeah.
Right across the country. There's a load of traditions where there is a bonfire. Emma G has this thing, and where she's asked me, have I found anything that has bonfires this week? Because I do tend to like to talk about those. They're used in Cornwall, and they're used in Devon, they're used up in Scotland for different things, and there's places where there's festivals, and how people in the next town know that the festival started is because they've seen the bonfire at the top of a hill in this one, then they light another one, and it moves forward and moves forward. So it was just about that, but yeah.
Okay.
I do like a bonfire. And then we'll have the thing at Easter where we'll have the small fires that people jump over and all that. It's all good. I like a tradition with a little bit of fire in it.
That's like the belting kind of thing.
Yes,
Yes,
the Beltane Mayday thing.
Yeah.
Whenever that goes back.
Yeah, I've jumped over a few bonfires, but that was just taking the piss, but it was nothing to do with belting.
Yeah. Most of the bonfires around here, don't think anybody's jumping over.
I think they'd be too big for that.
Yeah.
The bonfire boats.
Yes, the bonfires. Yeah, they're not good for jumping.
I have noticed one thing in Northern Ireland. When the bonfires were going, they build them up with pallets that they find lying around, and they're the height of a small low-riser building.
Oh no, they're not found lying around. They come in on lorries.
Oh, okay, all right.
They come in on lorries. They have cherry pickers. They have forklifts. They have cranes. They have It has become quite the endeavor.
Yeah.
Whenever I was a kid, we were going around asking anybody if there any old wood, old furnitures, anything they wanted rid of, and whatever we got, and it went on the fire, and that was good. Now they have become quite professional.
Yeah.
And
the
other thing is that the big one in Larne, the world record one, they had got their bonfire built that hit the height, and move the height that break the world record, and then they put out posts on their Facebook page. We have
Where
5 Larne, Kerry Hill.
Kerry Hill Larne, world record for setting shit on fire.
Yeah. Yes. Now, we can't get Guinness to come around and make it official. It could possibly happen this year. They did do a GoFundMe to get the fucking $8,000 that Guinness want for making it official. But strangely, their GoFundMe, and most of the their GoFundMe page didn't work after it got to about $2,000. It was there. You could click on the link to donate, but it went to error 404, and
Funny,
that
huh?
went. That went on for quite a while, and then about 2 weeks to go, the fund got changed to raise money for cancer patients, and it started to work again. Just strange.
Well, colour me surprised.
Yeah, it's mad. It's absolutely mad.
It's just a chipping away at traditions because
Oh.
they're white, especially white.
Actually,
Irish, whatever. Yeah. It's
actually,
it's fucking
let's
maddening.
see. No, I don't have it on that. I thought I might have had easy access to the bonfire I went to this year. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I was going to stick that on. Yeah. Billy Blogs is asking, do they still get so hot they bake nearby houses? They're moved further away from the streets now. They're more on like grassland and areas, because whenever we were kids, they would have been like at the corner of the street. You'd had to get some wood and board up people's windows so the windows didn't crack and stuff. So there is that.
Yeah, it's much safer just to have it out in the field, away in grassland, away from houses, for obvious reasons.
Well, whenever you say away in the field, sometimes in the housing estate, there's a bit of grass in the middle of it and it goes there.
Okay.
Right.
No,
Whenever say a bit more away, I mean like 50 to 100 yards away, not away far out. No, these are things that happen inside the community.
Okay.
This is not. And I know English people say we've got Guy Fawkes night and whatnot, but yeah, you just go to the field and you just have your bonfire away from the houses. No, this is something that happens inside the community. You have kids' bonfires that'll be at the corner of at the center junction of a terraced street where all the houses are two up, two down. Just at the end of it, there's a fire, and it's quite.
You do get a rare heat from some of these big bonfires. That's what I like in the winter. You can feel the heat from about 50 meters away. I was coming on a bus passing a bonfire in a park, and it was about 50 meters away, and I could feel the heat through the window. It was really nice and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine the heat of these big ones, which are like 20 meters high. Bloody hell, the heat probably a mile away. You feel it.
203 feet.
Woof. That's intense. Now the heat will probably be felt all over Ulster.
Yeah.
And even over the sea to Stranraer.
Let's see. Yep, that one worked. Bump. Share screen. Oh, you had to come up. Yeah, just a small bonfire. By the way, whenever you're building a bonfire, how you have to light it from the top down, otherwise it topples.
Yeah, I know.
So they sent fireworks up to the top of that and let it go out.
That is quite tall.
That's like the height of a skyscraper or a high rise from Britain.
I tell you what, you should see the buggers assembling that. They're mental. Absolute nutters. The guys who assemble these things, they're all pallets as well.
And I bet they use poachine to get that thing going.
Well, only if I'm not there, because if I'm there, there's none left. So.
No,
You'll go blind.
What they do is they have inflammables up at the top, and then they hit the inflammables with fireworks.
Okay.
And then it lights from the top down. And the further it burns down, once it starts to burn down one side and get down, yeah, that's whenever it topples. But you light it from the top down.
Okay. You know what would give it a pretty stylish way to get it light? A bow and arrow, flaming arrowhead, fire it up. Like they would do in the old days.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be somebody might one day decide to do that. Yeah.
What about you, like? There's Wurzel. What about you, Sean? That's my mate that currently lives in Australia. You're in just about in time for the end. Yep. Linda, that's in the middle of a housing estate. Actually, I'll get you a picture of that. I'll get you some images of that in daylight.
Sentham, when you said they're blind, does that all mean that you wear glasses?
I do, mate.
Yeah, me too.
The lenses in my glasses now are just shy of the Hubble Space Telescope. So,
well, I'm wearing glasses right now, but mine are nowhere near as bad as yours.
No. Mine are effective. Like I say, I like to be able to see the individual pixels on the monitor. So.
Yeah. The thing is, I've never seen your face before, but I just get an image in my head of a grey-haired professor-type old man with glasses on.
Do you want to know what a realistic visual of my face is? And I say this completely unironically. Have you ever seen any videos by the great Joe Marsh, our Welsh friend, Joe Marsh, who does the Activision down in Wales now?
I have listened to him.
Not his videos. Well, sorry, his videos, not him.
Yeah, well, imagine Joe Marsh's more ugly older brother. That's me.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out then.
Well, he's posting stuff all the time. He's got his own videos and everything now. So, like I say, the problem is Joe Marsh is a hard man. I'm as soft as shit. So, like I say, visually, I look like Joe Marsh's, even more gripper looking like older brother. But I'm a softy at heart.
Well, when Joe Marsh talks, just his accent, it's just I get in my head. If you do that, you can fuck off from Cardiff. Cardiff, you fucking rat. I just think, he's a toughie from the sound of his voice. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something now. When I did a Christmas stream this year, and I did it for dinner time. I did it for dinner time here, so that it was sort of night time coming into Christmas for our Australian contingent likes of Linda Hunter and Dawn Browning, etc. So I did it then, and I said to Joe Marsh, I said, Joe, you do us a bit of a Crimbo message, so you give us a Crimbo message. And then I said to the Ayatollah, the Toller, Toller, yeah?
Yeah, I
I'm
know
assuming
Tom.
you know Toller.
Yeah.
And I said to Toller, I said, look, I've got Joe doing a Crimbo message. So, you know, I know you do a great impression of Joe, but so what did the fucker do? He did a Joe Marsh impression for the Christmas message, and it sounded mint. I have to say, I have to take my hat off to the Toller. I mean, I haven't seen many of his live streams lately, and it's not because I haven't seen them. It's because I'm either busy or I can't use that entropy shit anymore because I used to slip him the odd tickle every now and again on the old entropy. The same with old Chris Dangerfield there, do you know what I mean? But entropy's changed all of their fucking rules and regulations and all this shit. So now if you want to do an entropy donation, you have to submit your inside leg measurement, how long your cock is, if you've got enough money in it. It's just like, this is just not worth the trouble. And it's a shame because I did used to like to support the likes of Chris and Toller, do you know what I mean? And I know that people on the chat, you know, various times are saying, oh, Chris Dangerfield, blah, 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 or whatever, or Toller's fucking blah, 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 blah. But for me, you know, great content. You know, it's the same with Devon Stack. I like a lot of stuff that Blackpilled Devon Stack. I like a lot of stuff that he does as well. And like I say, I don't know what's. I know they've had some wanglings, like financial wanglings or some shit like that, and I think it's all changed now. So maybe I will be able to reuse it again. But for whatever reason, they put the shutters up completely. It was unbelievable. Once again, just yet another evidence of attacks on people who don't support the narrative. It's just unbelievable.
That's the only explanation, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, I mean, and the hell of it is, Chris Dangerfield, you know, he's pretty much fucking milquetoast these days. He doesn't step over the boundaries, you know what I mean? He might have Dan the Iconoclast on occasionally here and there, or Morgoth or whatever. But usually the stuff that Chris Dangerfield's doing is pretty milquetoast, and I refuse to go through YouTube for obvious fucking reasons. So,
but I don't really watch much.
Yeah. There we go. I've got a picture up. As you can see, this world record bonfire's well away from the houses.
Fuck, man.
That's a big bonnie.
They're all pallets, aren't they? 42.
Yep.
They're all pallets, aren't they?
Yep. By the way, see the blue pallets? They are.
Come on.
Yeah. The blue pallets are like double thickness. They're made for carrying heavier things, and they take a lot longer to burn.
And you see those little spigots that are running up the side. That's how they get these things up. So they have people going up, like there'll be a person sat on each one of those spigots, and somebody will hoist a pallet up, get hold of it, put it up to the next level, put it up to the next level, put it up to the next level. But obviously, when it's got too high, they're getting a crane in to help out.
You know what it reminds me of is an old factory chimney about to be demolished.
Looks like I say, it looks like an old bloody Potteries, one of the old kiln chimneys. But I mean, it ain't anywhere near as big as that.
It pretty much is. But that one went to 203 feet this year.
No, it's quite an achievement.
It is.
I burst to know about you guys, but I couldn't handle I mean, even though it's not going to fall over out, but I couldn't handle being stood on top of that fucker. That would do my jaffers in. I'm not a nervy person, and there's not a lot of shit that I'm not even afraid of heights, but no fence around it. That would do my jaffers in.
I think I am the same sense. I'm not so much scared of heights, but if I don't have a safety barrier between me and the ground, I get a little nervous. So yeah, I share your sentiment.
I might be able to find you a video from the top of it.
Oh no, mate, go on, do it.
Oh yeah, go on.
That video nasty for me. That.
I almost did that in Sensim's accent. Oh, go on.
Hey, well, what do you mean? My accent? I don't sound like a gay fucking retard. What do you mean?
No, that's how you sound. Yeah. How about no?
fucking.
I need to practice that a wee bit more, but I kind of get it there.
Wanker.
Oh
Tack for
no.
nigh.
Sugar.
Tack for nigh. That's what you need to know.
I'm
Tack
going
for
to take
nigh.
that one out. Stop screen. Sorry, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for a video, which.
Packet turned into Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually I look like a Greek Adonis.
I like Tom
You're
and
all
Jerry.
your faces. You can say you look like whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, Tom and Jerry was another one that they talked about years ago, was stereotyping, because Thomas's owner was a black woman. You only saw her legs, but they said because it was stereotyping black people as if in the kitchen and domestic
Yes,
services.
it turns out. Yeah, it turns out that the black woman in the Tom and Jerry cartoons was a maid. Was a housekeeper.
Thought it was the owner.
She wasn't the owner, but I always assumed, growing up in the 70s in England, that she was the owner of the house. It never occurred to me for 1 second that she might be subservient to the white family that owned the house.
But you never saw the family. I always just thought that was Thomas's owner.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there we go. That's why they're
It
picking up
turns out
on
we're
about.
racist for thinking that.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's anything and everything. They'll just find racism in absolutely everything. The bastards. Or sense of say, the bastards. Maybe not quite in that accent. That's more Ozzy Osbourne. The
No,
bastards.
he's more gay libtard. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Ozzy Osbourne sounds like that. The bastard.
Fucking honestly to God, mate, can you pack in? Don't give up your day job. This is horrendous. This shit here.
Right.
I mean, Ozzy's from Birmingham anyway, so you're nowhere near. You're 60 miles away from me, mate. You know what I mean? That's
60 miles away.
Yeah.
The accent's changed twice, and the name for bread rolls has changed 4 times.
We don't have bread rolls. We have oatcakes. We have oatcakes. Don't fucking get that wrong. Fucker, we have oatcakes. Oatcakes with cheese and bacon and cheese oatcakes. Tell you now.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't lived. I'll tell you now. If you're ever in Stoke, get yourself a bit of bacon and cheese oatcake action. Honestly, that's like fucking heaven.
I'll consider it, but I prefer bacon butties. A bacon butty.
No. You're not. Honestly, mate, I'll tell you now. You're ever in Stoke, North Staffordshire, Stoke, cheese bacon oatcakes. They're the way to go, mate. Honestly, heaven.
Is Stoke where you live, Sensen?
No. It's a fucking shithole. Why would I live there? But all I'm saying is, if you're ever in the land of my birth, get yourself some bacon, cheese, and oatcakes down your neck. They're lovely. And lobby as well. Lobby better than Scouse. It's got to be better than Scouse because fucking Toffee didn't do a show up, did he? Fucking no show. He's about as reliable. That fucker's about as reliable as a 1980s Alfa Romeo. I'll tell you now.
Fucking fickle is Toffee, isn't he?
The last time he did, but the thing is, right, my own oh, fuck me, that looks horrendous already. The only thing I will say about my good friend Toffee is that the last time he did do a no-show, proper no-show, in other words, he didn't have an excuse. He just did a no-show. He'd been in a fucking horrendous car accident, so I hope, please God, he hasn't been in an accident this time. God bless you, Toffee. I hope you're all right, buddy.
Jensen, did you rip the piss when it turned out he'd been in a horrendous car crash?
I didn't, mate. Only a little bit, but I didn't know.
Right. I've no video, but I do have a picture of the people on the top.
That's horrendous.
Absolutely sod that.
I couldn't do that. Look at this. I mean, look at that building in the top of the thing. I think that must be like a school or something. Look how small that fucker is. Yeah, you wouldn't get me up there for love nor money. Not on fucking ropey wooden pallets that are like a Kaplunk game. Fuck that.
Not for a game of soldiers.
Not only that. Whenever you go over 50 pallets high, whenever you're standing on it, you can hear the pallets beneath you cranking and crunching.
Yeah, that entire thing is made out of nails and the shittiest wood they could find. The whole thing.
You know what
The
it
whole
proves,
thing,
gentlemen?
ground up.
It proves Ulstermen have balls of steel.
I tell you now, I wouldn't go anywhere near that fucker. I tell you. Look at this, and that's not even part way done. That's like still building the twat, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
well, it's just, yeah,
Okay.
no, not for me.
Buggery. That's buggery and back to go up there. You'll not catch me up there.
Actually, that is pretty much it done because that's July 10th. Right, yes, because it is, because that's where it's starting to get narrower for the top bit, and then them boys have got to get back down again.
How did they get down? Did they hold on to the crane?
I'm not sure. I know that generally speaking, you go over the top lat and you climb down the pallets, but I'm not sure whether or not that's done at that height.
I would assume the crane lowers them all down. They hold on to it.
I couldn't do that.
Well, I don't know, because that's not really legal. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of the traditions in Northern Ireland, or Northern Ireland, as I like to call it, they're above the sort of the tradition, above the law in a lot of instances.
I just had a theory. You know, they could do like mountain climbing style, a belay rope, looped all around, and somebody in the bottom lowers them down while they hold themselves, lowering themselves down. It's just another possibility, you know.
You're in the theory about the fellow with the buckets.
No, what?
the song about the labourer with his bucket full of bricks on the rope. The rope outweighs him. The bucket outweighs him, so the rope pulls him up as the buckets come down. It meets him halfway.
I know that song. It's called the Bricklayer song.
Yep. Right. With all that said,
well, I was just going to say, the only thing I'd say is you see these mental fuckers who are like out in Monument Valley in America, and they're like sort of crawling on rocks and shit.
Yeah.
Like and like they're underneath the rock. So basically, they've literally got the fingertips holding onto a bit of rock, and they've got a tippy toe on this underhang in order to get to the bit where there's an overhang so they can climb up it, and then they're happy. And these people literally are just using a bit of chalk dust in the fingertips, yeah? Not even those cunts would go up that fucking thing.
Call them extreme sports. I prefer to watch extreme sports and crazy ventures from the safety of the ground. I don't go up there.
Yeah.
Because knowing me, I will fall. It's the same with parachuting. People have said, oh, you should try it once. I said, no, because you know what will happen? Everybody will jump out. I will jump out. Everyone's parachute will open except mine. And I will die.
Well, never jump out of a perfectly functioning aircraft. I haven't seen... Billy, I haven't seen one lit with a drone. I've seen ropes soaked in petrol that have been tied to the top and put to the ground at an angle, and the fires went up the rope and onto the bonfire. I've seen pyrotechnics. I've seen all sorts of stuff. But it has got quite the competition. And they all now do like firework displays before them as well now. It has expanded quite a bit. Well, on that, we're coming up to 3 hours, 20 minutes. Have you anything you want to get off your chest? And I'm going to do a runner and close this down and play some music. So...
No, I have nothing to say. Just thanks for letting me come on and putting up with my annoyance, especially you said some.
You're very, very welcome, and thank you for coming on. Paka?
No, absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us. Love it here. Love all you people.
Mm.
I'm glad you're about. Otherwise, I'd have gone mad.
Yep. Sansom?
Well, like I say, you know, I've got nothing against the foreigner himself there, upset Viking. But yeah, have you got something queued up for the music style?
Yes, I have. I've got a song by Justice Kane, Great White Telephone. This guy does do some pretty bass stuff. He's not big time, and I like this tune. It's quite cool, and that's what we're having tonight. This is Justice Kane. Feel free, people, to jump over to that and give him a like and subscribe, because he could do with subs. He's only got 24 subs.
Say that
I'm a sub.
believing. What else can you do? And if my eyes don't deceive me, then the truth I'm telling you, it was a warm summer's eve in the month of June. We were out in the backyard, messing around, playing some old tune. Up in the moonlit sky, something out of the ordinary caught his eye. It was so profound, made no sound. It wasn't a flying saucer, it wasn't an aeroplane, it was a big white tribe. Was a very close encounter, first of its kind. Unidentified flying object messing with my mind. Glided across the rooftops, as quiet as a cloud, like something out of a sci-fi movie. The truth had finally been allowed. I just happened to be in the right place, fortunately at the right time. Should have seen the look of shock on Chris's face, sheer delight of mine. Big white triangle, big white triangle. We are not alone, no, we are not alone. It was a big white triangle over Chris's heart that night.
You see what I'm seeing?
Are you seeing what I see? Wasn't a flying saucer, no sir. Wasn't an aeroplane. I just happened to be in the right place. I'll never feel the same again. Big white triangle, big white triangle, big white triangle, a big white triangle. We are not alone. You see what I see? No, we are not alone. It was a big white triangle over Chris's heart that night. Wasn't a flying saucer, no sir. Wasn't an aeroplane, a meteor or a satellite. Yeah, maybe I might be insane. Big white triangle, big white triangle, big white triangle.
Okay, everybody. The guests of Paka's been Paka. Exiled Vikings been Exiled Vikings. Sansom's been Sansom. I have been 42, and you lot in the chat have, as always, been fucking amazing. Thank you. Good night. God bless. See you all next week. I'm out of here. Gone. Bye bye.